The murder of 500,000 human children by the Galactic Council ignites a firestorm of retribution. In the wake of this unspeakable atrocity, Earth's military command center buzzes with frantic activity. Screens flicker with damage reports, casualty lists scroll endlessly, and the air crackles with tension and barely contained fury. Amidst the chaos, Colonel Ethan Roberts stands rigid, his face a mask of cold determination. His communicator chirps, displaying an incoming transmission from an unknown source. He taps the device and a holographic projection materializes before him. The image resolves into a map of the Pacific Ocean, zooming in on the Mariana Trench. A blinking red dot marks a location deep beneath the ocean floor. A distorted voice echoes from the device. Colonel Roberts, humanity's salvation lies buried in the abyss. Seek the ancient fleet. Ethan's eyes narrow. What ancient fleet, he demands, but the transmission cuts off abruptly. Without hesitation, he assembles an elite squad of Marines and requisitions a deep-sea submersible. Within hours, they plunge into the inky depths of the Mariana Trench. As they descend, the submersible's sensors detect a massive structure hidden beneath layers of rock and sediment. They dock at a concealed airlock, stepping out into a cavernous hangar that stretches beyond sight. Row upon row of sleek biomechanical vessels fill the space, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly sheen. Ethan approaches the nearest ship, marveling at its design, far more advanced than anything in Earth's current arsenal. A soft voice breaks the silence. "I've been waiting for you, Colonel Roberts." Ethan spins, weapon raised, to find himself face to face with an alien being. Her skin shimmers with iridescent scales, and her eyes glow with an inner light. "I am Opal of the Zenkethi," she says, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. "We have guarded this fleet for millennia, waiting for the day when humanity would need it most." Ethan lowers his weapon, but remains wary. "Why now? Why didn't you help us when the Galactic Council attacked our children?" Opal's expression darkens. The attack was orchestrated by a corrupt faction within the Council. They fear the prophecy that speaks of humanity's rise to galactic dominance. This fleet was created as a failsafe against such threats. As Opal speaks, Ethan notices a control panel nearby. It pulses with a soft blue light, seeming to call to him. He approaches and a scanner activates, bathing him in a grid of light. "DNA match confirmed," a computerized voice announces. "Genetic key accepted." Opal nods solemnly. "You carry the blood of the ancient humans who built this fleet, Colonel. Only you can activate it." Ethan's hand hovers over the control panel, the weight of his decision pressing down on him. Activating this fleet could change the course of human history, potentially saving Earth from further attacks, or plunging them into an interstellar war. Suddenly, alarms blare throughout the facility. Opal's eyes widen in fear. "Galactic Council forces have detected us. They're coming to destroy the fleet." Ethan grits his teeth, his decision made. He slams his hand down on the panel, and the hangar comes alive with activity. Ships power up, their engines humming with latent energy. Screens flicker to life, displaying tactical information and star charts. As the first explosions rock the outer defenses of the underwater base, Ethan turns to his squad. "Prepare for battle," he commands. "We're taking the fight to the stars." The ancient fleet awakens, ready to unleash humanity's vengeance upon the galaxy. As the ancient fleet awakens, Ethan's mind races with the enormity of the task ahead. He turns to his squad, dedication etched on his face. "We need to split up. Half of you defend the perimeter. The rest with me. We're bringing this fleet online." Commander Jack Harper, a grizzled veteran with a scar running down his left cheek, nods sharply. "We'll hold the line, Colonel. Give 'em hell." As explosions rock the facility, Ethan leads his team and Opal deeper into the heart of the underwater base. They sprint through winding corridors, the walls vibrating with each impact. The air grows thick with tension as they reach the central control room. Ethan's eyes widen as he takes in the array of alien technology before him. At the center stands an imposing biometric scanner, its surface pulsing with an eerie blue light. "This is it," Opal says, her scales shimmering in the dim light. "The genetic key activation point. Only you can awaken the fleet, Colonel." Ethan approaches the scanner, his heart pounding. As he reaches out, the facility shudders violently. Dust rains from the ceiling, and warning klaxons blare. Galactic Council forces have breached the outer defenses, a technician shouts, her fingers flying over a nearby console. Gritting his teeth, Ethan places his hand on the scanner. A beam of light engulfs him, probing deep into his genetic code. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, the room comes alive with activity. Screens flicker to life, displaying schematics of thousands of ships. The hum of awakening systems fills the air, growing louder by the second. It's working, Opal breathes, her eyes wide with wonder. But their elation is short-lived. A holographic projection materializes in the center of the room, taking the form of a shimmering, translucent figure. Unidentified life forms detected, it announces, its voice a melodious blend of tones. State your purpose and allegiance. Ethan steps forward, his mind racing. I am Colonel Ethan Roberts of Earth. We are here to activate the fleet and defend humanity against the Galactic Council's aggression. The hologram's eyes narrow, scanning Ethan intently. Genetic signature partially matched, but significant deviations detected. Explain. We are the descendants of those who created this fleet, Ethan explains quickly, aware of the precious seconds ticking by. Humanity has evolved, but we still carry the legacy of our ancestors. The AI, which identifies itself as Area, processes this information. Verifying claim, analyzing current galactic political landscape. As Area deliberates, Ethan turns to his team. Start integrating our systems with the fleet. We need to be ready to launch the moment we get clearance. The technicians spring into action, interfacing their equipment with the ancient consoles. Opal moves among them, offering guidance on the alien technology. Suddenly, Commander Harper's voice crackles over the comm. Colonel, we're taking heavy fire. We can't hold them much longer. Ethan turns back to Area, urgency in his voice. We don't have time for a full debate. Earth is under attack. Millions of our children have been murdered. If we don't act now, humanity will fall. Area's projection flickers, its expression unreadable. Threat assessment complete. Activation protocols overridden. Fleet command transferred to Colonel Ethan Roberts. The room erupts in cheers, but Ethan is already moving. Launch the first wave of ships. Target the Galactic Council forces attacking this facility. As Area complies, Ethan feels a surge of power coursing through him. The neural interface connects him to the fleet, thousands of biomechanical vessels becoming extensions of his will. Outside, the ocean churns as massive ships rise from the depths. They breach the surface like metallic leviathans, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. Energy weapons charge, targeting the surprise Galactic Council ships. The battle above the Mariana Trench is brief but intense. The ancient fleet's superior technology makes short work of the attackers, reducing them to space debris in a matter of minutes. As the immediate threat subsides, Ethan turns his attention to the bigger picture. He establishes a secure link with Earth's military command, his holographic form appearing in war rooms across the globe. This is Colonel Ethan Roberts. We've uncovered a game-changing asset. I'm transmitting data on the ancient fleet now. We need to coordinate our next moves carefully. As military leaders worldwide react with a mix of shock and hope, Ethan confers with Opal. You mentioned a corrupt faction within the Galactic Council. We need names, locations, everything you've got. Opal nods, her eyes glowing with fierce dedication. I'll provide all the intelligence we've gathered. But be warned, striking against the Council will have far-reaching consequences. Ethan's teeth clench as he looks out at the assembled fleet. More ships rising from the ocean with each passing moment. They killed our children. Consequences be damned. As Ethan begins formulating strategies with Earth's leaders, Arya interrupts. Multiple incoming transmissions detected. Various alien races requesting communication. Ethan takes a deep breath, straightening his uniform. The next few moments could shape the future of humanity in the galactic community. With a nod, he signals Arya to put the transmissions through, ready to face whatever comes next. As Ethan prepared to address the incoming transmissions from various alien races, Arya's voice cut through the tense atmosphere. Alert! Multiple hostile fleets detected approaching Earth's colonies. Galactic Council signatures confirmed. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Show me. A holographic display materialized, revealing dozens of red dots converging on human-controlled worlds. The sheer number of enemy ships sent a chill down his spine. They're not wasting any time, he muttered. Turning to his team, he barked out orders. I need a status report on all activated ships. Now! As his subordinates scrambled to comply, Ethan's mind raced. The ancient fleet was formidable, but not all ships were operational yet. They were outnumbered and spread thin. Admiral, a young lieutenant called out, Earth's unified government is on the line. They're promoting you, sir. Fleet Admiral Roberts. Ethan nodded grimly, the weight of his new responsibility settling on his shoulders. He accepted the transmission, finding himself face-to-face with the newly formed Earth Defense Council. Admiral Roberts, the lead counselor spoke, her voice tight with urgency. The situation is critical. We need a plan to defend our colonies. Understood, Counselor. I'm formulating a strategy as we speak. Ethan turned to Opal, who had been quietly observing. You mentioned these ships have unique capabilities. What exactly are we working with? Opal's scales shimmered as she approached a console. The ancient fleet possesses advanced cloaking technology and a form of FTL travel that can bypass standard defenses. With these advantages, even a small number of ships can be incredibly effective. A plan began to form in Ethan's mind. He addressed Area. How many ships are fully operational? 37 vessels are combat-ready, Admiral, the AI responded promptly. Ethan nodded, his decision made. We'll deploy in small elite squadrons, hit-and-run tactics to keep the enemy off balance. He turned back to the council. I need every available resource directed towards activating the remaining ships, and put out a call for volunteers. We'll need all hands on deck for this fight. As the council members nodded in agreement, Ethan's attention was drawn to a familiar face entering the command center. Commander Jack Harper, looking battered but determined, saluted sharply. Reporting for duty, Admiral. The underwater base is secure. Ethan felt a surge of relief at seeing his old friend alive. Glad you made it, Jack. I have a critical mission for you. He quickly briefed Harper on the need for intelligence on the corrupt Galactic Council faction. Assemble a team of our best. You're going behind enemy lines. Harper's scarred face broke into a grim smile. Consider it done, sir. As Harper left to prepare his team, Ethan returned his attention to the tactical display. The enemy fleets were closing in fast. Arya, initiate deployment sequence for our active ships. Transmit these tactical instructions to all squadron leaders. Ethan's fingers flew over the console, inputting a series of complex maneuvers. Within minutes, the ancient fleet burst into action. Sleek biomechanical ships rose from the ocean depths, their hulls gleaming with otherworldly energy. They streaked into the sky, vanishing from sight as their cloaking systems engaged. Ethan watched the tactical display intently as his plan unfolded. The small squadrons of ancient ships appeared seemingly out of nowhere, near the besieged colonies, striking with pinpoint accuracy before disappearing again. The superior technology of the ancient vessels allowed them to dance around the enemy's defenses, dealing devastating blows before retreating. On the main view screen, reports began streaming in from the colonies. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the ancient fleet was holding its own, frustrating the Galactic Council's attempts to overwhelm Earth's defenses. As the battle raged across multiple star systems, Ethan received an unexpected transmission. It was from a race known as the Zarkol, a species long oppressed by the Galactic Council. Admiral Roberts, the Zarkol representative spoke, mandibles clicking with excitement. We have observed your resistance against the Council. We wish to offer our support in your fight. Ethan's eyes widened at the implications. We would welcome your assistance, he replied cautiously. But I must warn you, aligning with us may bring the Council's wrath upon your people. The Zarkol's compound eyes gleamed with willpower. We have suffered under their rule for too long. It is time we stood together against their tyranny. As the transmission ended, Ethan turned to Opal. How many other races might be willing to join our cause? Opal's expression was thoughtful. Many have chafed under the Council's dominance. Your ancient fleet represents hope for change. We should reach out to others. Ethan nodded, a new dimension added to his strategy. He began drafting messages to other known races, leveraging the ancient fleet's existence as a rallying point for those who sought to challenge the Council's power. As diplomatic channels buzzed with activity, Ethan's attention was drawn back to the tactical display. Arya's voice cut through the din of the command center. "Admiral, I've detected a disturbing pattern in the enemy's attacks. They appear to be specifically targeting locations with high concentrations of human children." Ethan's blood ran cold. The genocide wasn't over. It was escalating. He clenched his fists, rage building within him. "Broadcast this information on all channels," he ordered, his voice tight with controlled fury. "Let everyone see the true face of our enemy." As the news spread, Ethan could almost feel the shift in the galactic political landscape. More alien races began pledging their support, horrified by the Council's actions. Amidst the chaos of battle and diplomacy, Ethan received an urgent transmission from Commander Harper. The grizzled soldier's face appeared on the screen, his expression grim but triumphant. "Admiral, we've infiltrated a key Council stronghold. You're not going to believe what we've found." Ethan leaned forward, sensing the weight of Harper's words. "What is it, Jack?" "They're building a superweapon, sir, something that could neutralize our fleet's tech advantage. We've got the plans, but we need to move fast. If they complete this thing..." Ethan's mind raced, processing the new threat. The ancient fleet had turned the tide, but this superweapon could change everything. He began formulating a new plan, knowing that the next few hours would be crucial. As he prepared to brief his commanders on this latest development, Ethan cast his gaze over the command center. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance. The real battle was just beginning. Ethan's teeth gritted as he processed Commander Harper's words. The superweapon threat loomed large, threatening to undo all they had accomplished. "Understood, Jack. Get that intel back here ASAP. We'll need every advantage we can get." As Harper's transmission cut out, Ethan sprang into action. He summoned his senior staff, including Dr. Marcus Chen, the fleet's leading weapons expert. "Doctor, I need you to head up a task force to analyze this intel and develop countermeasures. This superweapon is now our top priority." Chen nodded, his eyes gleaming with drive. "I'll assemble my team immediately, Admiral." Ethan turned to his tactical officer. "Redirect a third of our fleet to bolster Earth's defenses. If the Council's building this weapon, they might try to distract us with attacks closer to home." As his orders were carried out, Ethan felt the bastion thrum with renewed energy. The forward operating base had become a nexus of activity, with allied alien ships arriving in growing numbers. A striking figure caught Ethan's eye, an Arcturian female with iridescent skin and piercing silver eyes. She approached, her movements fluid and precise. "Admiral Roberts," she said, her voice surprisingly melodious. "I am Captain Zara of the Arcturian Defense Force. We've come to offer our assistance." Ethan extended his hand, which Zara grasped firmly. "Welcome, Captain. Your reputation precedes you." "As does yours, Admiral," Zara replied. "I believe I can offer valuable insights into Council military strategies." Ethan nodded, gesturing for her to join him at the command table. "We'll need every advantage. I'm implementing mixed-species squadrons to leverage our diverse strengths." As they discussed strategy, reports flooded in from Earth. Global industry had pivoted to war production, churning out advanced weaponry and shields based on the ancient fleet's technology. Arya's holographic form materialized beside them. "Admiral, we've made a breakthrough. The biomechanical ships possess a revolutionary propulsion system, unlike anything we've seen before." Ethan leaned forward, intrigued. "Can we replicate it?" "With time, yes," Arya responded. "But there's more. These ships may have dormant capabilities we haven't yet unlocked." Before Ethan could probe further, alarms blared across the command center. A junior officer called out, "Multiple Galactic Council strike forces detected in the Orion Arm. They're hitting our outposts hard." Ethan studied the tactical display, his mind racing. The attacks were fierce, but something felt off. "It's a diversion," he muttered, then raised his voice. "Maintain our defensive positions. These attacks are meant to draw our attention away from their superweapon development." Captain Zara nodded in agreement. "A classic Council tactic. They're testing our defenses while masking their true objective. As the battle raged across multiple sectors, Dr. Chen burst into the command center, his face flushed with excitement. Admiral, we've identified a potential weakness in the superweapon. It requires a rare isotope found only in the cores of dying stars. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Can we neutralize it? Chen shook his head. Not directly, but if we can interrupt their supply. Say no more, Ethan replied. He turned to his communications officer. Get me Lieutenant Hawkins. I have a special assignment for him. Within hours, a covert team, led by the seasoned Lieutenant James Hawkins, was en route to intercept a council convoy suspected of transporting the crucial isotope. As Ethan coordinated the multi-front offensive, Opal approached, her scales shimmering with an intensity he hadn't seen before. Admiral, there's something you need to know about the ancient fleet, she said, her voice low. These ships possess a dormant capability to generate wormholes. Ethan's eyes widened. Wormholes? As in instantaneous travel across vast distances? Opal nodded. If we can reactivate this technology, it could revolutionize our entire approach to this war. The implications were staggering. Ethan's mind raced with the tactical possibilities such technology could offer. His thoughts were interrupted by an incoming transmission. The holographic form of a Vulcan diplomat materialized before him, its translucent body rippling with bioluminescent patterns. Admiral Roberts, the Vulcan's voice resonated in Ethan's mind. We have observed your conflict with the Galactic Council. We offer our services as mediators to negotiate with the non-corrupt council members. Ethan considered the offer carefully. This could be an opportunity to isolate the corrupt faction and potentially avoid all-out galactic war. We appreciate your offer, Ethan replied diplomatically. I'll consult with Earth's leadership and get back to you shortly. As the transmission ended, alarms blared once again. A sensor officer called out, Admiral, massive council fleet detected near Cygnus X1. The tactical display shifted, revealing a vast array of enemy ships gathering near the infamous black hole. Intelligence reports scrolled across the screen, suggesting this could be the site of the superweapon's final assembly. Ethan felt the weight of command settle heavily on his shoulders. The decision before him was monumental. Launch an all-out assault on this gathering force, potentially leaving Earth exposed, or maintain a defensive posture while pursuing diplomatic channels. As he weighed his options, another transmission came through. It was Commander Harper, his face grim. Admiral, we've uncovered something big. There's a splinter group within the corrupt faction, led by someone called Admiral Vex. They're planning to seize control of the superweapon for themselves. Ethan's blood ran cold. The situation had just become exponentially more complex. With multiple threats looming and the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, he knew the decisions he made in the next few moments would shape the course of the war and potentially redefine humanity's place in the galactic order. He took a deep breath, steel entering his voice as he turned to address his command staff. The ancient fleet stood ready, its full power yet to be unleashed. Whatever came next, they would face it head-on. Ethan's eyes narrowed as he processed the information before him. The ancient fleet's untapped potential, the superweapon threat, and the complex political landscape all demanded immediate action. He took a deep breath, his decision crystallizing. We're launching Operation Thunderbolt, he announced, his voice cutting through the tension in the command center. A multi-pronged offensive to neutralize the superweapon and cripple the corrupt faction's power base. He turned to Captain Zara, the Arcturian tactician. Captain, I want you to lead our main fleet to Cygnus X1. Engage the council forces there and keep them occupied. Zara's silver eyes gleamed with persistence. Understood, Admiral. We'll give them a battle they won't soon forget. Ethan nodded, then addressed his communications officer. Get me Lieutenant Hawkins. His team's intercept mission just became our top priority. As the orders went out, the bastion hummed with increased activity. Ships began moving into position, crews preparing for the impending conflict. Ethan felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders, knowing that the next few hours would shape the course of the war. Dr. Chen burst into the command center, his face flushed with excitement. Admiral, we've done it. We've activated the wormhole generation system on a small scale. Ethan's eyes widened. Show me. Chen led him to a nearby console where a holographic display showed a stable wormhole connecting Earth to the Bastion. Ethan watched in awe as supplies and reinforcements began flowing through the spatial rift. This changes everything, Ethan murmured. He turned to his logistics officer. I want every available piece of advanced weaponry and shielding sent through that wormhole to reinforce our fleet at Cygnus X-1. As Operation Thunderbolt unfolded, Ethan received a transmission from Lieutenant Hawkins. The officer's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression a mix of triumph and urgency. Admiral, we've secured the isotope and captured several high-ranking council officials, Hawkins reported. But we've uncovered something else. The superweapon is nearing completion, and there's chatter about an imminent test firing. Ethan's heart made. Good work, Lieutenant. Get those prisoners back here for interrogation. We need every piece of intel we can get. He turned to his tactical display, watching as Captain Zara's fleet engaged the Council forces near Cygnus X-1. The ancient ships danced through space, their advanced technology allowing them to hold their own against the numerically superior enemy. Suddenly, alarms blared across the command center. A sensor officer called out, "Massive energy spike detected in the Cygnus sector." Ethan's blood ran cold. It's the superweapon. They're firing it prematurely. He made a split-second decision. Major Sarah Chen, report to the launch bay immediately. You're leading a strike team to intercept that weapon. As Major Chen and her elite squad prepared for their desperate mission, Ethan received another urgent transmission. Commander Harper's face appeared on the screen, smoke and sparks visible in the background. Admiral, we've infiltrated the superweapon facility, but Vex is initiating an emergency launch. We're planting explosives, but I don't think we can stop the firing sequence. Ethan's mind raced. Get out of there, Jack. We'll handle the weapon from our end. He watched anxiously as Major Chen's squad launched, their ships equipped with the experimental wormhole technology. The tactical display showed the superweapon's energy wave racing towards the human fleet at Cygnus X-1. Major Chen, you're our last line of defense, Ethan said, his voice tense. Use the wormhole tech to redirect that energy wave. The next few moments stretched into an eternity. Ethan held his breath as he watched Major Chen's squad intercept the energy wave. With precision timing, they generated a localized wormhole directly in its path. The effect was immediate and devastating. The superweapon's destructive force emerged from the wormhole in the midst of the Council's own fleet, tearing through their ships with terrifying efficiency. Chaos erupted among the enemy forces. Ethan watched as Council ships began to break formation, some surrendering, others fleeing. Captain Zara's voice came through the comm system. Admiral, the enemy fleet is in disarray. We're pressing our advantage. As the battle turned decisively in their favor, Ethan received one final transmission from Commander Harper. Sir, we've cornered Vex. The facility is going up in flames, but we've got him. A cheer went up across the command center. Ethan allowed himself a small smile, but he knew the war was a long way to go. The corrupt faction had been dealt a significant blow, but they still held considerable power and resources. As reports of their victory spread across subspace channels, Ethan saw the galactic political landscape shift before his eyes. Neutral races began pledging their support, and non-corrupt council members moved to seize control from their tainted colleagues. Amidst the celebrations, Arya's holographic form appeared beside Ethan. Admiral, while this victory is significant, I must caution you about the ancient fleet's untapped power. There are risks we don't yet fully understand. Ethan nodded gravely. Noted, Arya. We'll proceed with caution. He turned his gaze back to the tactical display, watching as the last pockets of resistance were mopped up near Cygnus X-1. Humanity had won a great victory, but Ethan knew that greater challenges and perhaps greater dangers lay ahead. But for now, they had struck a decisive blow against their enemies. As the dust settled from the Battle of Cygnus X-1, Admiral Ethan Roberts wasted no time in capitalizing on their hard-won victory. He strode purposefully across the command center, issuing rapid-fire orders to his staff. I want advanced sensor arrays deployed throughout our solar system and key allied territories, he commanded. We need an early warning network against any potential counterattacks from the remnants of the corrupt council faction. Captain Zara nodded, her silver eyes gleaming with approval. A wise precaution, Admiral. I'll oversee the deployment personally. As his crew sprang into action, Ethan received an incoming transmission from Dr. Marcus Chen. The scientist's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression a mix of excitement and exhaustion. Admiral, we've done it, Chen announced, barely containing his enthusiasm. We've created a stable, large-scale wormhole capable of transporting entire battle groups across vast distances. Ethan's eyes widened at the implications. Excellent work, Doctor. This changes everything. Without hesitation, Ethan initiated Operation Cosmic Shield. He turned to his tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Reyes. Prepare multiple squadrons of the ancient fleet for immediate deployment. We're establishing a network of rapid response bases at key strategic locations throughout the galaxy. As the crews rushed to carry out his orders, Ethan received a priority message from Earth. The holographic form of General Xiang, head of the Global Defense Initiative, materialized before him. Admiral Roberts, in light of recent events, we're accelerating our planetary defense plans, Xiang reported. We're beginning construction on enormous energy projectors at strategic points around the globe. Once completed, they'll create an impenetrable barrier against space-based attacks. Ethan nodded gravely. A necessary precaution, General. Keep me updated on your progress. As he disconnected the call, Commander Jack Harper approached, his face grim. Sir, our intelligence reports indicate that Admiral Vex managed to escape during the battle. He's rallying supporters in the outer reaches of the galaxy and amassing a fleet of unconventional ships. Ethan's face hardened. We can't let him regroup. Jack, I'm assigning you to lead a special task force. Track down Vex and neutralize his power base before it becomes a significant threat. Harper saluted crisply. Understood, Admiral. I'll assemble my team immediately. As Harper turned to leave, Ethan added, One more thing. I'm assigning Major Lucas Blackwood to your task force. His expertise in xenoarchaeology and alien weapon systems could prove invaluable. Harper nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Blackwood's reputation precedes him. He'll be a welcome addition to the team. As the command center buzzed with activity, Ethan received word that the Volcran diplomats had arranged a summit between Earth's representatives and the non-corrupt members of the Galactic Council. He quickly selected Ambassador Elena Sato to lead the human delegation. Ambassador, Ethan addressed her via holographic communication, this summit is our chance to reshape galactic politics in our favor. The fate of humanity rests on your diplomatic skills. Sato's eyes shone with commitment. I won't let you down, Admiral. We'll secure our place in the galaxy, not just as warriors, but as partners in peace. As Ethan ended the transmission, Arya's holographic form materialized beside him. The AI's expression was troubled. Admiral, I've detected unusual energy signatures emanating from several uninhabited systems near the galactic core, Arya reported. They bear similarities to the ancient fleet's technology, but appear far more advanced. Ethan frowned, his mind racing with the possibilities. Before he could respond, alarms blared throughout the command center. A frantic transmission came through from one of the newly established forward bases. Admiral Roberts, the base commander's voice crackled with static and urgency. We've detected a massive surge of unknown vessels emerging from an uncharted region of space. They're heading directly towards our closest allied worlds. Ethan's blood ran cold as he processed the information. He turned to face the main view screen, watching as countless unknown ships appeared on the tactical display. Their design was like nothing he had ever seen before, a mix of organic and mechanical elements that defied easy classification. As the command center erupted into controlled chaos, Ethan knew that humanity's resurgence had attracted the attention of a potentially greater power than they had ever faced. The ancient fleet's capabilities would soon be put to the ultimate test. He took a deep breath, his voice steady as he addressed his crew. Alert all allied worlds, deploy our rapid response fleets to intercept, and get me a direct line to Earth's leadership. We need to prepare for what might be our greatest challenge yet. As the orders went out and ships began to move into position, Ethan couldn't help but wonder what this new threat might bring. The galaxy, it seemed, held far more secrets and dangers than they had ever imagined, and humanity now stood at the forefront of a conflict that could reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. Civilization. As if in response to Ethan's thoughts, the command center erupted with a cacophony of alarms and urgent reports. "Admiral!" Lieutenant Commander Reyes called out, her voice cutting through the noise. "Multiple unidentified vessels have just emerged from slipspace near our outermost colonies. They're on an intercept course with our allied worlds." Ethan's expression resolute as he processed the information. "Initiate galaxy-wide alert. All rapid response bases are to deploy immediately. I want every available ancient fleet ship converging on the threatened sectors." As his orders echoed through subspace channels, Ethan turned to Major Sarah Chen, who stood at attention nearby. "Major, I need your squad to scout the incoming fleet. Use the experimental wormhole tech to get in close and gather intel. We need to know what we're dealing with." Chen nodded sharply. "Understood, Admiral. We'll get you that information." As Chen's team raced to their ships, Ethan watched the tactical display, his mind racing through possible scenarios. The unknown vessels moved with an eerie precision, their formations unlike anything he had seen before. Hours later, Major Chen's voice crackled through the comm system. "Admiral, you're not going to believe this. These ships, they're Tsenkethi." Ethan's eyes widened in shock. "Tsenkethi? Are you certain?" "Positive, sir," Chen replied. "But they're far more advanced than anything we've encountered before. It's like Opal's technology on steroids." Without hesitation, Ethan called for Opal to be brought to the command center. The Tsenkethi scientist arrived moments later, her silver eyes widening as she took in the holographic display of the approaching fleet. "By the ancient ones," Opal whispered. "It can't be." "What are we looking at, Opal?" Ethan asked, his voice tense. Opal's gaze met his, her expression a mix of awe and fear. "These ships belong to the Tsenkethi Vanguard, a faction of my people who vanished millennia ago. They embarked on a mission to explore the farthest reaches of the universe, but we never heard from them again. Until now, it seems." As if on cue, a message broadcast across all frequencies, its words sending a chill down Ethan's spine. "We are the Tsenkethi Vanguard, returned to reclaim our legacy. We shall judge the worthiness of those who now inhabit our ancient domains. Prepare yourselves." The command center fell silent as the implications of the message sank in. Ethan could almost feel the fragile alliances they had forged begin to crack under the weight of this new threat. "We need to act fast," Ethan said, breaking the silence. He turned to Dr. Marcus Chen. "Doctor, I need Earth's planetary shield system online now. I don't care if it's not finished. Make it work." Chen nodded, his face pale but determined. "We'll push it to its limits, Admiral, but I can't guarantee how long it'll hold." As Chen and his team rushed to activate the shield, Ethan redirected his attention to Commander Jack Harper. "Jack, I'm reassigning your task force. I need you to investigate those energy signatures Aria detected near the Galactic core. If there's anything there that can give us an edge against the Vanguard, we need to find it." Harper's holographic image nodded. "We're on it, Admiral. Major Blackwood and I will head out immediately." Ethan then opened a channel to Ambassador Elena Sato, who was attending the diplomatic summit in the Andromeda Galaxy. "Ambassador, the situation has changed. We need those alliances more than ever now. Use whatever means necessary to secure commitments for mutual defense." Sato's expression was grim but determined. "Understood, Admiral. I'll do everything in my power." As reports flooded in of the Vanguard fleet approaching key allied worlds, Ethan made a decision that would change the course of the conflict. "Initiate Operation Ghost Protocol," he commanded. The command center buzzed with activity as Ethan outlined his plan. They would use the ancient fleet's wormhole technology to evacuate key personnel and resources from threatened worlds while simultaneously deploying stealth teams to infiltrate and sabotage the Vanguard ships. As Operation Ghost Protocol got underway, Aria's holographic form appeared beside Ethan, her expression troubled. "Admiral, I've detected unusual fluctuations in the fabric of space-time centered around areas of heavy wormhole use. Continued large-scale operations could have unforeseen consequences on galactic stability. Ethan's heart sank as he realized the implications. They were caught between the immediate threat of the Tzenkethi Vanguard and the potential long-term dangers of their most powerful technology. "Scale back wormhole operations," Ethan ordered, his voice heavy. "We'll have to find another way." As he watched the tactical display showing the Vanguard fleet entering the outer reaches of Earth's solar system, Ethan felt the weight of countless lives resting on his shoulders. The decisions he would make in the coming hours would shape the future of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the cosmos. The command center hummed with tense energy as Ethan surveyed his team. Each face reflected a mix of perseverance and fear, the gravity of their situation etched in every line and shadow. He took a deep breath, preparing to lead humanity through its darkest hour. With a steadying breath, he turned to his tactical officer. "Lieutenant Commander Reyes, initiate Operation Aegis. Activate Earth's planetary shield system." Reyes's fingers flew across her console. "Activating now, sir." A low hum resonated through the command center as the massive energy projectors around the globe sprang to life. Streams of iridescent energy coalesced into a shimmering dome that enveloped the planet. Dr. Marcus Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Admiral, the shield is holding, but it's not at full capacity. We're pushing it to its limits." As if in response, the view screen lit up with a barrage of energy weapons from the Tzenkethi Vanguard fleet. The shield rippled and flexed under the assault, but held firm. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. "Good work, Doctor. Every second counts?" Major Sarah Chen's voice cut through the tension. "Admiral, we've successfully infiltrated one of the Vanguard's support vessels. You're not going to believe what we've found." "Go ahead, Major." "Sir, these ships are powered by an energy source unlike anything we've ever seen. It makes our ancient fleet look like child's toys in comparison." Ethan's lips pursed. "Understood, Major. Get as much intel as you can and get out of there." As Chen's team continued their covert operation, a priority message from Ambassador Elena Sato flashed on Ethan's personal display. He opened the channel, and Sato's holographic form materialized before him, her expression grave. "Admiral, we have a situation at the Andromeda Summit," Sato reported. "A Tzenkethi Vanguard emissary named Zorax has presented evidence claiming that the ancient human fleet was built using stolen Tzenkethi technology. It's causing quite a stir among our potential allies." Ethan felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. "Can you verify these claims?" "Not without access to Earth's historical archives," Sato replied. "But true or not, it's threatening to unravel everything we've worked for here." "Do what you can to keep the alliance intact, Ambassador. I'll have our researchers look into these claims immediately." As Sato's image faded, another transmission came through. Commander Jack Harper's face appeared on the screen, his features taut with excitement and urgency. "Admiral, we've reached the source of those energy signatures near the galactic core. It's an ancient Tzenkethi outpost, sir. The place is a goldmine of advanced tech, but we've triggered some kind of defense system. We're under attack by automated drones." In the background, Ethan could hear the sounds of weapons fire and shouts of Harper's team members. "Major Blackwood is downloading as much data as he can," Harper continued, ducking as a stray energy bolt passed overhead. "But we're not sure how long we can hold out." "Understood, Commander. Get what you can and get out of there. We'll send reinforcements to cover your extraction." As Harper's transmission cut out, Dr. Chen burst into the command center, his eyes wild with excitement. "Admiral, I've made a breakthrough," he exclaimed. "We can use controlled wormholes to disrupt the Vanguard's energy fields. It won't destroy their ships, but it could neutralize their weapons without causing further damage to space-time." Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. "Excellent work, Doctor. How soon can we implement this?" "We can modify our smaller ships with the new wormhole generators immediately," Chen replied. Ethan turned to Reyes. "Prepare our fast attack craft for immediate deployment. Equip them with Dr. Chen's modified wormhole generators." As the command center buzzed with renewed activity, Opal approached Ethan, her silver eyes gleaming with intensity. "Admiral, there's something you should know about the Vanguard fleet," she said, her voice low. "Their ships operate on a hierarchical command structure. Each vessel is linked to a central command ship. If we can neutralize that ship, it could throw their entire fleet into chaos. Ethan's eyes narrowed as a plan began to form in his mind. He opened a channel to Major Chen's squad. Major, I have a new objective for you. We need you to locate and identify the Vanguard's command ship. It's the key to bringing down their entire fleet. Understood, Admiral, Chen replied. We're on it. As Ethan began to issue orders for this new strategy, the command center shook violently. Alarms blared as the tactical display showed a massive energy surge from the Vanguard fleet. Sir, they're launching a full-scale assault on the planetary shield, Reyes shouted over the din. Ethan watched as the shimmering barrier protecting Earth flickered and strained under the onslaught. Dr. Chen's voice came through, tinged with panic. Admiral, we're rerouting all available power to the shield, but I'm not sure how long it can hold against this level of attack. Ethan's voice cut through the chaos, steady and resolute. Hold the line, Doctor. Our counterattack is already in motion. As Earth's defenders scrambled to maintain the shield's integrity, Ethan knew the next few hours would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of the entire galaxy. The pieces were in motion, Chen's squad hunting for the command ship, Harper's team racing to secure advanced technology, and Sato navigating treacherous diplomatic waters. Ethan's gaze turned to the view screen, watching as the first wave of Earth's modified ships moved into position, preparing to unleash their wormhole-based assault on the Vanguard fleet. The battle for survival had begun in earnest, and there was no turning back. As the modified ships engaged the Vanguard fleet, Ethan's attention snapped to the tactical display. The battle for Earth's survival had begun in earnest. All ships, execute Operation Phantom, Ethan commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around him. Major Chen, your team has the green light. Find that command ship. Chen's voice crackled through the comm. Copy that, Admiral. We're moving in. On the screen, Earth's defensive forces launched into action. The ancient human ships, their hulls gleaming with a mix of old and new technology, formed up alongside vessels from allied races. Energy weapons flared to life, creating a dazzling light show against the backdrop of space. The Vanguard fleet responded in kind, their ships moving with uncanny precision. Beams of exotic energy lanced out, striking Earth's planetary shield. The barrier rippled and flexed under the assault, casting shimmering waves of light across the planet's surface. In the command center, Dr. Marcus Chen's fingers flew across his console. Rerouting power from non-essential systems, he reported, his voice tight with concentration. Shield integrity at 87% and holding, for now. Ethan nodded grimly. Keep it up, Doctor. We need every second you can give us. As the battle raged around Earth, Major Sarah Chen's stealth squad maneuvered through the chaos. Their ship, equipped with the latest in cloaking technology and the experimental wormhole generators, weaved between the massive Vanguard vessels. Target located, Chen's second-in-command reported. Vanguard command ship dead ahead. It's bigger than we anticipated. Chen's eyes narrowed as she took in the enormous vessel. Its hull bristled with weapons, energy fields shimmering around it like a second skin. Size doesn't matter if we can take out its power core, she said. Prepare for wormhole insertion. Back on Earth, Dr. Chen's team worked feverishly to maintain the shield. Sweat beaded on the doctor's forehead as he rerouted power from one system to another, trying to stay ahead of the Vanguard's relentless assault. Admiral, he called out, his voice strained. We're pushing the generators beyond safe limits. I don't know how much longer we can hold out. Ethan's heart made. Understood, Doctor. Do what you can. We just need to buy a little more time. In the Andromeda Galaxy, Ambassador Elena Sato faced a different kind of battle. The diplomatic summit had erupted into chaos following Zorax's accusations. Sato stood her ground, her voice carrying over the din of angry voices. Colleagues, please, she implored. The origin of Earth's fleet is irrelevant in the face of unprovoked aggression. We have consistently used our technology for the betterment of all sentient life in the galaxy. The Vanguard threatens not just Earth, but all of us. As murmurs of agreement began to spread through the assembly, a new figure entered the chamber. Admiral Crone of the Sirius Confederation strode in, his imposing presence immediately commanding attention. "The Sirius Confederation has observed these proceedings with great interest," Crone announced, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. "We cannot stand idly by while the balance of power in our galaxy is threatened." Sato held her breath, knowing Crone's next words could sway the entire summit. Meanwhile, near the galactic core, Commander Jack Harper's team fought for survival in the ancient Tzenkethi outpost. Energy bolts from security drones whizzed past their heads as they took cover behind alien machinery. "Major Blackwood," Harper shouted over the din of battle, "how's that data coming?" Blackwood's fingers danced across his datapad. "Almost there, Commander. This Tzenkethi tech is like nothing I've ever seen, but I think I've cracked their encoding." Suddenly, Blackwood's eyes widened. "Sir, I've found something. A fail-safe system built into all Tzenkethi ships. If we can broadcast the right frequency, we might be able to shut down the entire Vanguard fleet." Harper's face lit up with hope. "Transmit that data to Admiral Roberts, now." As Blackwood initiated the transmission, the facility around them shuddered. Warning klaxons blared as a computerized voice announced the activation of a self-destruct sequence. "Time to go," Harper ordered, hefting his weapon. "Everyone to the ship, double time." Back in Earth orbit, Major Chen's squad prepared to make their move on the Vanguard command ship. "Initiating wormhole disruption," Chen announced. "Stand by for insertion." Small, localized wormholes blossomed around the massive vessel, their swirling energies interfering with its shields. The command ship's defenses flickered and wavered, creating a momentary weakness. "Now!" Chen ordered. Her team's ship darted forward, slipping through the gap in the enemy's defenses. They were in. As Chen's squad began their infiltration, Admiral Roberts received the transmission from Blackwood. His eyes widened as he processed the information about the Tzenkethi failsafe. "This could change everything," he muttered. Then, raising his voice, he issued new orders. "All ships disengage from direct combat. Prepare to broadcast on all frequencies. We're about to give the Vanguard a taste of their own medicine." The battle hung in precarious balance. Major Chen's team raced against time to disable the command ship from within. Earth's defense forces readied themselves to broadcast the failsafe signal. And on the planet's surface, Dr. Chen and his team fought desperately to keep the shield intact for just a few moments longer. The next few minutes would determine the fate of not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. As energy weapons flared and ships maneuvered in deadly formation, the universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see which side would emerge victorious. As the universe held its breath, the combined efforts of Earth's forces converged in a decisive moment. Major Sarah Chen's voice crackled through the comm system, her tone tense but controlled. "Admiral, we've breached the command ship's defenses, moving to neutralize the power core now." Ethan nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Understood, Major. All ships prepare to broadcast the failsafe frequency on my mark." The command center hummed with anticipation as Dr. Chen's fingers flew across his console, inputting the final calculations. "Failsafe signal ready, Admiral," he reported, his voice strained from the effort of maintaining Earth's shields. "Execute," Ethan ordered, his voice cutting through the tension. In an instant, the battle changed. The failsafe signal penetrated the Vanguard fleet's communications network, triggering a cascading shutdown of their advanced weapon systems. On the main view screen, Ethan watched as the once formidable Vanguard ships began to lose power, their energy weapons flickering out one by one. "It's working," Reyes exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Inside the Vanguard command ship, Major Chen and her team raced through alien corridors, the sounds of their boots echoing off metallic walls. They reached the main power core, a massive pulsating structure that filled the chamber with an eerie blue glow. "Plant the charges," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "We've got one shot at this." As her team worked, Chen's comm unit crackled to life. "Major, this is Admiral Roberts. The failsafe signal is active. What's your status?" "Charges set, sir," Chen replied, her eyes scanning the alien machinery. "Initiating overload sequence now." The power core's pulsations increased in speed and intensity, the blue glow shifting to an angry red. Chen and her team sprinted for the exit, the ship's alarms blaring around them. Back in Earth's orbit, Ethan watched as the Vanguard command ship's lights flickered and died. The massive vessel drifted aimlessly, its imposing presence now reduced to a powerless hulk. "All ships, move in," Ethan commanded. "Secure those vessels. I want boarding parties ready to deploy immediately." Earth's defense fleet sprang into action, surrounding the disabled Vanguard ships. Smaller craft detached from the larger vessels, carrying teams of specialized personnel to secure key Vanguard ships. On the planet's surface, Dr. Chen's team worked feverishly to stabilize the planetary shield system. As the bombardment ceased, the partial shield began to steady, its shimmering surface smoothing out. "Shield integrity stabilizing at 64%, Admiral," Dr. Chen reported, relief evident in his voice. "Emergency repair crews are en route to reinforce critical generators." Ethan allowed himself a momentary smile before turning his attention to the aftermath of the battle. "Opal, status report on the Vanguard fleet." The AI's holographic form shimmered into view. Approximately 87% of Vanguard vessels have been neutralized by the failsafe signal. The remaining 13% are attempting to regroup, but without central coordination, their efforts are disorganized and ineffective. As Earth's forces moved to mop up the remaining pockets of resistance, a transmission came through from one of the boarding parties. "Admiral, we've got a situation. These ships, they're not just military vessels. We're finding civilians aboard, sir. Families, children." Ethan's brow furrowed as he processed this unexpected development. The ethical implications of their victory suddenly became far more complex than he had anticipated. Before he could respond, another transmission cut through. It was Ambassador Sato, her face alight with excitement. "Admiral, I have excellent news from the Andromeda Summit. The news of our victory has reached us, and it's changing everything. Admiral Crone of the Sirius Confederation has just publicly announced his support for Earth." As Sato continued to detail the shifting political landscape, Ethan's mind raced with the implications. Earth's position in the galactic community was changing rapidly, bringing with it new opportunities and challenges. His thoughts were interrupted by an urgent call from Commander Harper. "Admiral, we've cleared the Tsenkethi outpost, but it was a close call. The facility self-destructed moments after we escaped. Major Blackwood's been hit, sir. It's bad." Ethan's eyes hardened. "Get him to medical immediately, Commander. What's the status of the data you recovered?" "Intact, sir," Harper replied, his voice tight with concern for his injured teammate. "Blackwood managed to secure it all before we evacuated. The things we found there, Admiral, they could change everything." As the immediate crisis subsided, Ethan found himself facing a new set of challenges. The captured Vanguard ships represented an unprecedented opportunity to study advanced Tsenkethi technology, but the presence of civilian prisoners complicated matters significantly. He turned to Reyes, his expression grave. "Assemble a team to begin processing the Vanguard civilians. We need to ensure they're treated fairly and humanely." Ethan then opened a channel to all Earth forces. "This is Admiral Roberts. The immediate threat has been neutralized, but our work is a long way to go. I want all key personnel to prepare for a full debriefing. We need to understand every aspect of what transpired here today." As he issued orders and coordinated the aftermath of the battle, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that this victory, as significant as it was, marked not an end, but a beginning. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, but the true test of their character would be how they handled the aftermath of their triumph. Victory marked not an end, but a beginning. Humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage, but the true test of their character would be how they handled the aftermath of their triumph. Ethan's eyes swept across the command center, taking in the bustling activity as his crew worked to secure their hard-won victory. He turned to his second-in-command, Captain Reyes. "We need to establish a secure quarantine zone in Earth's orbit immediately. All captured Vanguard ships are to be moved there for processing and study." Reyes nodded, her fingers already dancing across her console. "Understood, sir. I'll coordinate with our fleet to begin towing operations." As the Earth fleet mobilized to secure the Vanguard vessels, Ethan's attention was drawn to an incoming transmission. Commander Jack Harper's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression grim. "Admiral, we've just docked. Major Blackwood's condition is critical. He needs immediate medical attention." Ethan's teeth clenched. "Get him to the Advanced Medical Facility on Lunar Base Alpha. It's equipped with the latest human and alien medical tech. I want hourly updates on his condition." As Harper's team rushed Blackwood to the medical facility, Dr. Marcus Chen approached Ethan, his eyes bright with excitement despite the exhaustion evident on his face. "Admiral, we've begun analyzing the data retrieved from the Tsenkethi outpost. You need to see this." Chen pulled up a holographic display, filling the air with swirling diagrams and alien text. "We've uncovered information about an ancient Tsenkethi superweapon called the Starforge. It's beyond anything we've ever encountered. This device can manipulate the fabric of space-time itself." Ethan leaned in, studying the diagrams with a furrowed brow. "Why haven't the Tsenkethi used it against us?" "That's the thing, sir," Chen replied. "The data suggests it was hidden away millennia ago. The Tsenkethi of that era deemed it too dangerous to use, even by their own standards." The implications of this discovery sent Ethan's mind racing. He tapped his comm badge. "This is Admiral Roberts. I'm calling an emergency meeting of Earth's top military and scientific leaders. Conference Room Alpha, 1 hour." As the command center continued its frantic activity, Ethan made his way to the medical bay where the Vanguard civilians were being processed. Dr. Evelyn Reeves, the lead xenobiologist, intercepted him at the entrance. "Admiral, we've made a startling discovery," she said, her voice low and urgent. "These Tsenkethi civilians, they're not just refugees or colonists. They're suffering from a devastating genetic disorder. It appears to be affecting their entire species." Ethan's eyes widened. "Are you saying their invasion wasn't about conquest?" Reeves nodded solemnly. "It's possible they were searching for a cure. This changes everything, sir." As Ethan processed this information, a junior officer approached, tablet in hand. "Sir, we're receiving reports of growing anti-human sentiment among some alien races. Intelligence suggests a secret alliance may be forming to challenge our newfound power." Ethan took the tablet, scanning the report quickly. "Understood. Increase our covert surveillance operations. I want to know everything about this potential alliance." He handed the tablet back to the officer and turned to Dr. Reeves. "Assemble a team of our best geneticists, human and alien. Your top priority is to investigate this Tsenkethi disorder and search for a cure. We may have just found a path to peace." As Reeves hurried off to gather her team, Ethan's comm badge chirped. "Admiral," came the voice of his communications officer, "we're receiving an encrypted transmission from one of our deep space listening posts. You'll want to hear this, sir." Ethan strode back to the command center, his mind whirling with the rapid-fire developments. As he entered, the officer played the transmission. Fragmented alien words crackled through the speakers, interspersed with bursts of static. "It's a distress signal, sir," the officer explained. "Origin, an unexplored sector on the far side of the galaxy. We've only managed to decrypt parts of it, but, sir, it hints at a threat unlike anything we've encountered before." Ethan stood silent for a moment, absorbing the weight of this new information. Earth had emerged victorious from one crisis, only to find itself facing challenges on multiple fronts. The Starforge, the Tsenkethi's genetic plight, growing anti-human sentiment, and now this mysterious threat from deep space. Each development carried the potential to reshape the galactic landscape. He straightened his uniform and addressed his command staff. "We've won a great victory today, but our work is just getting started. Humanity has taken its place among the stars, and now we must prove ourselves worthy of that position. Whatever challenges lie ahead, we'll face them head-on." As his officers sprang into action, Ethan turned his gaze to the view screen, where the image of Earth hung serenely against the backdrop of space. In the orbit around his home planet, the glittering forms of the captured Vanguard ships served as a reminder of how quickly the universe could change. With a deep breath, he prepared himself for the next chapter in humanity's galactic journey. Ethan's gaze lingered on the monitor, his mind processing the weight of recent events. The tranquil image of Earth contrasted sharply with the rapid-fire developments unfolding around him. He turned to address his command staff, dedication etched on his face. "We've achieved a significant victory, but our challenges are just the beginning," he began. "Our priority now is to investigate the distress signal from the unexplored sector." As if on cue, the communications officer's voice cut through the command center. "Admiral, we've completed the initial analysis of the deep space transmission. It's unlike anything we've encountered before." Ethan strode over to the officer's station, studying the complex waveforms on the display. "Assemble a specialized task force immediately," he ordered. "We need our best and brightest on this." Within hours, Rear Admiral Sarah Chen, newly promoted for her exemplary service during the Vanguard crisis, stood before Ethan in his ready room. Her eyes gleamed with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Admiral Roberts, I'm honored to lead this mission," Chen said, her voice steady despite the enormity of the task ahead. Ethan nodded, pulling up a holographic display of the task force's composition. "You'll be commanding a fleet of our most advanced ships, along with several retrofitted Vanguard vessels. Dr. Chen and his team have equipped you with prototype long-range sensors based on Tsinkethi tech. They should give you an edge out there." As Chen absorbed the details of her mission, Ethan's comm badge chirped. "Sir," came the voice of his medical officer, "Major Blackwood is awake and stable. He's asking to speak with you urgently." Ethan's brow furrowed. "I'm on my way. Chen, begin your preparations. We'll reconvene before your departure." In the medical bay, Major Lucas Blackwood lay propped up in bed, his face pale but his eyes alert. As Ethan approached, Blackwood struggled to sit up straighter. "At ease, Major," Ethan said, placing a reassuring hand on Blackwood's shoulder. "What's so urgent?" Blackwood's voice was hoarse but insistent. "Sir, the Starforge. I remember now. During the assault on the Tsinkethi outpost, I saw coordinates, blueprints. I think I know where to find its components." Ethan's pulse quickened. "You're certain?" Blackwood nodded weakly. "Not exact locations, but enough to narrow our search significantly." Without hesitation, Ethan tapped his comm badge. "Commander Harper, report to my ready room immediately." Within the hour, Jack Harper stood before Ethan, his posture rigid as he received his new orders. "A covert mission to locate and secure the Starforge components," Harper repeated, his voice low. "Understood, sir. When do we depart?" "As soon as your team is assembled," Ethan replied. "This is top priority, Commander. We can't risk anyone else getting their hands on that weapon." As Harper left to prepare for his mission, Ethan made his way to the research labs where Dr. Evelyn Reeves was working tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the Tsinkethi genetic disorder. "Admiral," Reeves greeted him, her eyes alight with the thrill of discovery. "We've made a breakthrough. The Tsinkethi condition appears to be linked to prolonged exposure to an unknown form of radiation." Ethan leaned in, studying the complex genetic models floating in the air before him. "Where is this radiation coming from?" Reeves manipulated the display, zooming out to show a galactic map. "That's the fascinating part, sir. The radiation signatures match those detected in the sector where the distress signal originated." The implications of this connection sent Ethan's mind racing. He was about to respond when his comm badge chirped once more. "Admiral," came the urgent voice of Ambassador Elena Sato, "we have a situation developing with our new allies. They're demanding access to the Tsinkethi technology and the ancient fleet's capabilities." Ethan suppressed a sigh. "I'm on my way, Ambassador. We need to tread carefully here." As he made his way to the diplomatic wing, alarms blared throughout the station. "Red alert! All hands to battle stations!" The voice of Captain Reyes filled the corridors. "Admiral Roberts to the command center immediately." Ethan broke into a run, his heart pounding. He burst into the command center, where a holographic display showed multiple attack sites across Earth's outer colonies. Reyes turned to him, her face grim. "Sir, we're under attack. Multiple targets, coordinated strikes. Intel suggests it's the work of Warlord Krasiak's forces." Ethan's eyebrows furrowed as he surveyed the unfolding chaos. With Chen's task force preparing for deep space deployment and Harper's team about to embark on their covert mission, Earth's defenses were stretched thin. "Initiate Project Sentinel," Ethan ordered, his voice carrying across the command center. We need those defense stations operational yesterday. As the command center erupted into a flurry of activity, Ethan stood at the center, coordinating Earth's response to the multi-pronged crisis. The distress signal, the Star Forge, the Tsenkethi disorder, and now this brazen attack. Each thread of this complex tapestry demanded his attention. In the midst of the chaos, a junior officer approached, her face pale. Admiral, we've detected an anomaly in the AI systems of one of the captured Vanguard ships. It's awakening, sir. Ethan's eyes widened as he processed this new development. The emergence of an advanced alien AI added yet another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. As alarms continued to blare and reports of attacks flooded in, Ethan steeled himself for the challenges ahead. Humanity's place in the galaxy hung in the balance, and the decisions made in the coming hours would shape the course of history. History. The weight of the galaxy seemed to rest on his shoulders as he considered the multitude of threats facing humanity. Admiral, Captain Reyes called out, her voice cutting through the chaos of the command center. We've detected multiple attack sites across our outer colonies. Intel suggests Warlord Krazak's forces are behind the coordinated strikes. Ethan's eyebrows furrowed as he absorbed the information. Initiate full-scale mobilization, he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Activate all reserve units and accelerate production of our new Tsenkethi Tech-enhanced ships. As officers scrambled to carry out his orders, Ethan turned to address the issue of the awakening AI. Containment protocols on that Vanguard ship. I want a team of our best cybersecurity experts monitoring its activities round the clock. The command center erupted into a flurry of activity as Ethan's orders were relayed across Earth's defense network. Screens lit up with tactical displays, showing the movement of Earth's forces as they mobilized to meet the threat. Sir, a communications officer called out, we're receiving an urgent transmission from Proxima Centauri. The shipyard facility is under heavy attack. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Proxima Centauri is our key shipyard. We can't afford to lose it. He turned to his tactical officer. Deploy a significant portion of the home fleet to defend the installation. This is now our primary battlefront. As the orders were relayed, Ethan watched the tactical display, tracking the movement of Earth's ships as they engaged Krazak's forces near Proxima Centauri. The battle unfolded before his eyes, a deadly dance of advanced technology and strategic maneuvers. Our Tsenkethi-enhanced shields are holding, reported the tactical officer. The enemy's initial assault has been repelled, but they're regrouping for another attack. Ethan nodded grimly. Keep me updated on the situation. This battle may well decide the fate of our shipbuilding capabilities. As the siege of Proxima Centauri raged on, Ethan's attention was drawn to another urgent matter. A young officer approached, her face pale with concern. Admiral, we've received a final transmission from Captain Torres's scouting party, she reported, her voice trembling slightly. They've encountered the Void Heralds. Ethan's blood ran cold. Play the transmission, he ordered. Captain Torres's voice crackled through the speakers, distorted by static and punctuated by sounds of chaos in the background. This is Captain Torres, the Void Heralds. They're unlike anything we've ever encountered. Energy-based life forms, capable of phasing in and out of normal space-time. Our weapons are useless. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving a chilling silence in the command center. Ethan's mind raced as he processed this new threat. He opened a secure channel to Rear Admiral Sarah Chen's task force. Chen, this is Roberts. You've received Torres's transmission? Affirmative, Admiral. Chen's voice came through, tense but controlled. We're maintaining a safe distance from the planet, requesting permission to establish a quarantine zone around the system. Granted, Ethan replied without hesitation. No ships in or out. We can't risk these Void Heralds spreading beyond that system. As Chen's task force moved to secure the quarantine zone, Ethan found himself pulled in yet another direction. Dr. Evelyn Reeves burst into the command center, her eyes wide with excitement. Admiral, we've made a breakthrough, she announced, pulling up a holographic display of complex molecular structures. We've identified a rare isotope in the atmosphere of the Void Herald planet. It could be the key to curing the Tsenkethi genetic disorder. Ethan's brow furrowed as he considered the implications. You're certain? Reeves nodded emphatically. As certain as we can be without direct samples. But Admiral, obtaining those samples would mean breaching the quarantine zone, Ethan finished, the weight of the decision evident in his voice. Before he could deliberate further, alarms blared throughout the command center. Admiral, called out the tactical officer, we're detecting a massive energy surge from one of the captured Vanguard ships. The AI, it's attempting to break free of our containment protocols. Ethan's hand instinctively moved to his sidearm as he barked out orders. Initiate emergency shutdown procedures. If that fails, prepare to scuttle the ship. We can't risk an uncontrolled AI loose in our systems. As the crisis escalated on multiple fronts, Ethan knew he needed to bring together Earth's best minds to formulate a response. Call an emergency meeting of our top military and scientific advisors, he ordered his aide. We need to address these threats head-on. The command center continued to buzz with activity as Ethan made his way to the conference room. The siege of Proxima Centauri, the Void Herald threat, the potential cure for the Tzenkethi, and the rogue AI, each crisis demanded immediate attention, and the decisions made in the coming hours would shape the course of humanity's future among the stars. As he entered the conference room, Ethan was greeted by a sea of concerned faces. Among them, he noticed a new addition, a grizzled, battle-scarred man whose presence seemed to command respect from even the most seasoned officers. Admiral Roberts, the man said, stepping forward with a crisp salute. General Marcus Thorne, head of the Xeno-Threat Response Division. I believe I have a solution to our current predicament. Ethan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. I'm all ears, General. What do you propose? Propose, General? Ethan asked, his interest piqued by the man's confident demeanor. General Thorne stepped forward, activating a holographic display in the center of the conference room. Admiral, we're facing multiple threats on various fronts. It's time we take decisive action. He gestured to the tactical map, highlighting key strategic points. I propose we implement a multi-pronged approach to address these crises simultaneously. Ethan nodded, his eyes scanning the detailed plans before him. Go on, General. First, Thorne continued, we need to gather more intelligence on the Void Heralds. I recommend deploying the ESS Shadowblade to infiltrate the quarantine zone around the planet where Captain Torres's team encountered these entities. The room fell silent as the implications of this bold move sank in. Ethan's brow furrowed as he considered the risks. That's a high-stakes operation, General. Who do you have in mind to lead this mission? Captain Alexei Volkov, sir, Thorne replied without hesitation. He's our top covert ops specialist, with a proven track record in high-risk situations. Ethan nodded, remembering Volkov's impressive service record. Very well. What else? General Thorne moved on to the next point on his tactical display. We need to reinforce our position at Proxima Centauri. The shipyards there are crucial to our defense capabilities. I suggest deploying our ships equipped with reverse-engineered Tzenkethi weapons. It's time we put our new hybrid technology to the test. As Thorne outlined his strategy, Dr. Evelyn Reeves stepped forward, her eyes alight with excitement. Admiral, if I may interject? At Ethan's nod, she continued, the Shadowblade's mission could serve a dual purpose. We've identified a rare isotope in the atmosphere of the Void Herald planet that could be key to curing the Tzenkethi genetic disorder. If they could collect samples, Ethan's mind raced, weighing the potential benefits against the risks. It would significantly increase the mission's complexity and danger, he mused aloud. But the potential payoff could be enormous, Reeves pressed. After a moment's consideration, Ethan made his decision. We'll add it to the Shadowblade's objectives. Captain Volkov and his team will need to be briefed thoroughly. As the meeting continued, reports flooded in from various fronts. The siege of Proxima Centauri had intensified, with Warlord Krazak's forces launching a renewed offensive against Earth's crucial shipyard. Ethan quickly authorized the deployment of additional reinforcements, including the ships equipped with the new Tzenkethi-based weapons. Meanwhile, Rear Admiral Sarah Chen's voice crackled over the comm system, reporting from the edge of the quarantine zone. Admiral, we've detected a distress signal from a nearby system. It bears similarities to the energy signatures we observed during the Void Herald encounter. Ethan exchanged a glance with General Thorne. Maintain the quarantine, but send a small team to investigate the distress call. We can't risk these entities spreading unchecked. As the command center buzzed with activity, coordinating responses to multiple crises, Dr. Marcus Chen burst into the room, his face flushed with excitement. Admiral, we've done it! We've cracked the ancient fleet's wormhole technology. Ethan's eyes widened at the implications. Explain, Doctor. Chen activated a holographic display showing a complex schematic. We've developed a prototype device capable of creating stable micro-wormholes. This could revolutionize our communication and transportation capabilities across vast distances. Without hesitation, Ethan ordered the integration of this new technology into Earth's defense network. As he issued the command, his comm badge chirped urgently. Admiral, came Commander Jack Harper's voice, strained and breathless. We've located one of the Starforge components, but we've triggered some kind of ancient security system. Zenkethi loyalist forces are in pursuit. Ethan's eyes hardened. What's your status, Commander? We're outnumbered, sir, but I have an idea. We're going to use the Starforge component to activate a dormant Zenkethi defense network. It should buy us enough time to escape. Understood, Commander. Do what you must, but be aware that this may alert other factions to the Starforge's existence. As Harper acknowledged the order, Ethan turned his attention back to the room. The faces of Earth's top military and scientific minds looked to him for direction in this storm of crises. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan began, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. We stand at a crucial juncture. The decisions we make here will shape the course of humanity's future among the stars. Let's get to work. With that, the room erupted into a flurry of activity. As orders were relayed and strategies formulated, Ethan moved to a private console, opening a secure channel to the ESS Shadowblade. Captain Volkov, he said, his voice low and urgent, your mission is a go. Infiltrate the quarantine zone, gather intelligence on the Void Heralds, and collect samples of the isotope. But there's one more thing. Ethan paused, weighing his next words carefully. If possible, attempt to make contact with any survivors from Captain Torres's team on the planet's surface. There was a moment of silence before Volkov's reply came through. Understood, Admiral. We'll do our best. As Ethan closed the channel, he turned back to face the command center, where holographic displays showed the unfolding crises across human space. The Shadowblade was about to embark on its perilous mission. The battle for Proxima Centauri raged on, and the mysterious Void Heralds loomed as an ever-present threat. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and the coming hours would prove decisive in shaping their place in the galaxy. Galaxy. As Ethan closed the secure channel, the tension in the command center was palpable. The ESS Shadowblade's mission would be critical in unraveling the mysteries surrounding the Void Heralds and potentially securing a cure for the Zenkethi genetic disorder. Hours later, aboard the Shadowblade, Captain Alexei Volkov stood at the helm, his experienced eyes scanning the swirling atmosphere of the mysterious planet below. The ship shuddered as it pierced through the upper layers of gases, the hull creaking under the strain of unknown forces. Status report, Volkov barked, his voice steady despite the turbulence. Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the ship's chief engineer, responded with a hint of concern in her voice. Captain, we're experiencing significant interference with our primary systems. Navigational controls are becoming erratic. Volkov's face hardened as he assessed the situation. Initiate emergency landing protocols. Divert all non-essential power to shields and stabilizers. The Shadowblade lurched violently as it descended through layers of dense, ionized gases. Warning klaxons blared throughout the ship as various systems fluctuated wildly. Energy readings off the charts, sir, called out the science officer. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. Volkov's hands flew across the control panel, making minute adjustments to their trajectory. Brace for impact, he shouted as the ship plummeted towards the planet's surface. With a bone-jarring thud, the Shadowblade touched down on the desolate landscape. Dust and debris billowed around the ship as its engines powered down. Volkov exhaled slowly, allowing himself a moment of relief before snapping back into action. Damage report? Minor hull breaches in the aft section, but otherwise intact, Chen replied, her fingers dancing across her console. Environmental systems are stable. Good work, everyone, Volkov nodded. Prepare for surface deployment. Lieutenant Marcus Reeves, assemble your team. Within minutes, Reeves and his squad of specially trained operatives gathered in the airlock. They donned their advanced protective suits, each equipped with the latest in shielding technology designed to counter unknown threats. As the airlock cycled open, the team stepped out onto the alien world. The landscape before them was a study in desolation. Jagged rock formations jutted from the barren ground, while swirling eddies of strange luminescent particles danced in the air. Reeves activated his suit's sensors, scanning the immediate vicinity. I'm picking up faint energy signatures about 2 clicks northeast, he reported, consistent with the last known location of Torres's team. Volkov's voice crackled through their comms. Proceed with caution, Lieutenant. We don't know what we're dealing with here. The team moved out, their footsteps crunching on the rocky terrain. As they approached the coordinates, the ruins of an ancient structure loomed before them. Its architecture was unlike anything they had ever seen, twisting spires of an unknown material that seemed to bend the very light around them. Look there, one of the operatives called out, pointing to a series of scorch marks on a nearby wall. Energy weapon discharge, recent too. Reeves knelt to examine a piece of equipment half buried in the dust. This is Earth-made, he muttered, turning over the charred remnants of a standard-issue communicator. Torres's team was definitely here. As they ventured deeper into the ruins, the air grew thick with an oppressive energy. Their suit sensors beeped incessantly, struggling to make sense of the readings. Sir, one of the team members called out, her voice trembling slightly. I think I've found something. Reeves hurried over, his eyes widening as he saw what she had discovered. Hidden behind a crumbling wall was an entrance to an underground chamber. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its edges, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Captain Volkov, Reeves reported, we've found a hidden entrance, requesting permission to proceed. There was a moment of static before Volkov's reply came through. Granted, Lieutenant, but exercise extreme caution. We can't afford to lose another team. With trepidation, Reeves led his squad into the underground chamber. As they descended, the air grew heavy with an electric charge. Their suit lights illuminated a vast space filled with rows of metallic pods, each emitting a soft, pulsating glow. Stasis pods, Reeves breathed, approaching one of the active units. He wiped away a layer of dust from its surface, revealing a familiar face within. It's Torres! He's alive! The team quickly gathered around, working to decipher the pod's controls. As they prepared to extract Torres, Reeves noticed strange, shimmering patterns of energy coursing across the captain's body. Something's not right, he muttered, activating his suit's advanced sensors. These energy signatures, they're similar to what we observed during the Void Herald encounters. Before they could proceed further, Reeves' comm crackled to life with an urgent transmission from Volkov. Lieutenant, we've just received word from Admiral Roberts. The situation has escalated dramatically. Multiple star systems are showing signs of space-time distortion. We need to expedite this mission and return immediately with any intelligence or samples we can gather. Reeves looked from Torres's unconscious form to the array of active stasis pods around them. The weight of their discovery pressed heavily upon him as he realized the magnitude of what they had stumbled upon. Understood, Captain, he replied, his mind racing with the implications of their find. We're bringing Torres out of stasis now. Prepare the ship for immediate departure. As the team worked to safely extract Torres from the pod, Reeves couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the precipice of uncovering something that could change the course of the war against the Void Heralds. With time running short and the fate of multiple star systems hanging in the balance, they raced to gather as much data as possible from the ancient facility. The mysteries of the underground chamber and the strange energy affecting Torres would have to be unraveled later. For now, their priority was clear. Return to Earth with their findings and hope that it would be enough to turn the tide in humanity's fight for survival. As Reeves and his team worked feverishly to extract Torres from the stasis pod, The air in the chamber grew thick with tension. The eerie glow emanating from the ancient technology cast long shadows across their faces, highlighting the urgency of their task. "Careful now," Reeves instructed, his voice tight with concentration. "We don't know how this process might affect him." As they carefully disconnected Torres from the pod systems, the strange energy patterns coursing through his body intensified. The team's equipment began to fluctuate wildly, screens flickering and sensors emitting high-pitched whines. Suddenly, Torres's eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. He gasped, his body arching as if in pain, before words began pouring from his mouth in a language none of them recognized. "What's happening?" one of the operatives asked, taking an involuntary step back. Before Reeves could respond, Captain Volkov's voice crackled urgently through their comms. "Lieutenant, we're detecting massive energy spikes throughout the chamber. Get out of there now." Reeves didn't need to be told twice. "Grab Torres and move," he ordered, helping to lift the now unconscious captain. As they retreated from the chamber, the team noticed the other stasis pods beginning to activate, the air filled with a low, pulsating hum as more beings stirred from their ancient slumber. "Double time!" Reeves shouted, urging his team forward as they carried Torres between them. They raced through the twisting corridors of the alien structure, the walls around them vibrating with increasing intensity. As they emerged into the harsh light of the planet's surface, Reeves saw the Shadow Blade waiting, its engines already spooling up for immediate takeoff. Captain Volkov met them at the airlock, his face grim. "Get him to medical," he ordered as they brought Torres aboard. "We're leaving now." The ship shuddered as it lifted off, fighting against the planet's gravity and the strange energies permeating the atmosphere. Through the viewports, Reeves watched as the ground fell away, the alien ruins growing smaller by the second. Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared in alarm. A massive energy surge erupted from the planet's surface, causing the Shadow Blade to buck violently. "What in the name of—" Volkov muttered, his eyes widening as he stared at the main view screen. Rising from beneath the planet's crust, a colossal structure began to emerge. It dwarfed anything they had ever seen, its surface etched with intricate patterns that pulsed with otherworldly energy. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're picking up massive increases in Void Herald activity across multiple sectors." Volkov's mind focused. "Transmit everything we've got back to Earth, now. Use the new micro-wormhole system." As the Shadow Blade streaked away from the mysterious planet, its crew watched in awe as the alien megastructure continued to rise, reshaping the very landscape beneath it. In the medical bay, Torres lay unconscious, the strange energy still coursing through his body. The ship's doctor looked up as Reeves entered. "I've never seen anything like this," she said, shaking her head. "It's as if his entire cellular structure is being rewritten." Reeves nodded grimly. "Keep him stable. We need to know what happened down there." As the Shadow Blade raced back towards Earth, the gravity of their discovery greatly troubled on everyone aboard. They had uncovered something ancient and powerful, something that could change the course of the war against the Void Heralds. But at what cost? Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the effects of their actions were already being felt. At Proxima Centauri, Admiral Roberts' forces pressed their advantage against Warlord Krazak's faltering defenses. The concentrated barrage of hybrid human Senkethi weapons tore through the enemy flagship's shields, leaving it exposed and vulnerable. In a desperate bid to escape, Krazak activated his experimental phase shift drive. For a moment, it seemed as if he might slip away. But then, with a horrific screech of twisting metal, the ship partially materialized inside an asteroid. The resulting explosion lit up the battlefield, marking the end of Krazak's threat and sending his remaining forces into disarray. As the dust settled, Admiral Roberts allowed himself a moment of grim satisfaction before turning his attention to the incoming reports of increased Void Herald activity. In deep space, Rear Admiral Sarah Chen found herself facing an unprecedented challenge. The Void Herald entities attacking the mining colony seemed to dance between dimensions, making traditional combat tactics useless. Chen's brow furrowed as she studied the tactical display, searching for a pattern in the chaos. Suddenly, her eyes widened with realization. "They're not random," she murmured. There's a pattern to their movements. With quick, decisive orders, Chen directed her forces to deploy the new micro-wormhole technology. Small, unpredictable entry points began to appear around the battlefield, allowing her ships to outmaneuver the elusive Void Heralds. The tide of battle turned as Chen's forces scored several direct hits, forcing the entities to retreat. But even as they celebrated this victory, Chen knew that this was only the beginning of a much larger conflict. Back on Earth, Admiral Roberts received the transmission from the Shadowblade. As he absorbed the implications of their discovery, he knew that humanity stood on the brink of its greatest challenge yet. The emergence of the ancient alien structure, combined with the increased Void Herald activity, painted a dire picture of the threats they now faced. Without hesitation, Roberts issued a galaxy-wide state of emergency. He ordered the immediate recall of all available forces, including Rear Admiral Chen's task force and Commander Harper's team working on the Starforge component. As Earth's defenders converge, preparing for the battles to come, the mysterious alien structure on the distant planet continued to rise. Its purpose unknown, its power beyond comprehension, it stood as a silent harbinger of the cosmic struggles that lay ahead. In the heart of Earth's command center, Admiral Roberts stood surrounded by holographic displays showing the unfolding crises across human space. His voice was steady as he addressed his assembled officers. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroads in human history. The discoveries made by the Shadowblade team, combined with our recent victories and technological breakthroughs, have opened up new possibilities and new dangers. Our next actions will determine the fate of not just humanity, but possibly the entire galaxy. As the command center buzzed with activity, Admiral Roberts turned his gaze to the stars visible through the reinforced windows. Somewhere out there, the Void Heralds were gathering their strength, and on a distant, mysterious planet, an ancient power was awakening. The stage was set for the next phase of humanity's greatest struggle. The only question that remained was, would they be ready for what came next? Next? Would they be ready for what came next? Admiral Roberts' words hung in the air, a question that seemed to echo through the command center. He didn't have long to ponder it. Within moments, alarms blared throughout the facility, signaling the arrival of urgent communications from across human space. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, her voice tight with tension, "we're receiving multiple distress calls. Void Herald activity has spiked dramatically in sectors 7 through 12. Roberts' face hardened as he absorbed the news. "Initiate galaxy-wide state of emergency," he ordered, his voice calm despite the gravity of the situation. "I want all available forces recalled immediately." The command center erupted into a flurry of activity as officers rushed to carry out the Admiral's orders. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing the positions of Earth fleets and the spreading chaos of Void Herald incursions. "Get me a direct line to the Shadowblade," Roberts demanded, striding towards the central communications array. "We need that data now." As the Admiral coordinated Earth's response, the ESS Shadowblade pushed its engines to the limit, racing through space towards home. In the ship's medical bay, Captain Torres lay strapped to a biobed, his body racked by convulsions as strange energies coursed through him. Dr. Elena Petrov worked feverishly, her brow furrowed in concentration as she tried to stabilize Torres's condition. "I've never seen anything like this," she muttered, adjusting the settings on a medical scanner. "It's as if his entire cellular structure is in flux." Torres' eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. He began to speak, his voice a guttural rasp in a language none of the medical staff recognized. Dr. Petrov leaned in, recording every sound and analyzing the energy patterns that pulsed through Torres's body with each word. On the bridge, Captain Volkov received the transmission from Earth Command. His face grim, he turned to his crew. "We're to make for Earth at maximum speed, divert all non-essential power to engines and life support." The Shadowblade surged forward, its hull vibrating as it pushed past design limits. Stars streaked by outside the viewports, a testament to their desperate velocity. Back on Earth, Admiral Roberts initiated the next phase of humanity's response. "Deploy the new large-scale wormhole generators," he ordered. "I want our key ships and personnel at strategic locations yesterday." Massive energy conduits hummed to life as Earth's most advanced technology was put to the test. In orbit, great rings of energy began to form, tearing holes in the fabric of space-time. Through these artificial wormholes, Earth's most powerful warships and its most brilliant minds were dispatched to defend humanity's core worlds. "Sir," General Marcus Thorne reported, his holographic image flickering before Roberts, "Project Sentinel is operational. We're establishing defensive perimeters around Earth and our primary colonies." Roberts nodded, a small measure of relief washing over him. The advanced space stations of Project Sentinel had been years in the making, designed to serve as impenetrable fortresses against any threat. Now they would face their ultimate test. As Earth's defenses fell into place, the Shadow Blade finally arrived in the Sol system. The ship screamed towards Luna Base, where a team of specialists awaited their precious cargo. Captain Torres was rushed from the ship to a high-security medical facility buried deep within the lunar crust. Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's leading xenobiologist, met the medical team at the airlock. "What's his condition?" Chen asked, falling into step beside Dr. Petrov as they hurried through sterile white corridors. "Unstable," Petrov replied, her voice tight with concern. "He's experiencing periods of lucidity followed by intense seizures, and the energy readings, they're off the charts." Chen's eyes widened as he studied the data on the tablet Petrov handed him. "These patterns," he murmured, "they're consistent with Void Herald energy signatures. It's as if Torres has become a conduit." In the facility's main laboratory, a team of physicists and xenobiologists swarmed around Torres, attaching sensors and collecting data. The captain's body arched off the examination table, energy crackling around him as another seizure took hold. "Incredible," Chen breathed, watching the readings spike on the monitors. "This could be the key to understanding the Void Heralds." As the scientists worked to unravel the mysteries of Torres' condition, Admiral Roberts convened an emergency meeting with his top advisors. The holographic displays in the war room showed the massive alien structure that had emerged on the distant planet, its energy signature pulsing ominously. "The similarities to Void Herald energy patterns are undeniable," Ambassador Elena Sato noted, her eyes fixed on the swirling data. "Could this be their point of origin?" Roberts leaned forward, his expression grave. "Whatever it is, we need to investigate. I'm authorizing the formation of a specialized task force. Codename, Operation Lighthouse." As the details of the operation were hashed out, Commander Jack Harper's shuttle touched down at Earth's primary spaceport. Fresh from his work on Jupiter, Harper strode purposefully towards the waiting transport, his mind already racing with possibilities. "Commander," a young ensign greeted him, snapping to attention. "Admiral Roberts requests your immediate presence at headquarters." Harper nodded, his expression determined. As the transport sped towards the heart of Earth's defense complex, he reviewed the data streaming across his personal device. The challenges ahead were immense, but so were the possibilities. In orbit, the first ships of Operation Lighthouse began to assemble. Earth's most advanced vessels gleamed in the sunlight, their hulls filled with weapons and sensors. Alongside them, alien craft of various designs took up formation, a testament to Ambassador Sato's diplomatic efforts. As the final preparations for the mission got underway, Admiral Roberts stood at the window of his office, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Void Heralds were gathering their strength, and on a distant, mysterious planet, an ancient power awaited. The next phase of the conflict was about to begin, and the stakes had never been higher. Higher. The Admiral's gaze shifted from the stars to the holographic displays showing the assembling Operation Lighthouse fleet. As the final preparations concluded, Commander Jack Harper arrived at Earth's Defense Headquarters. He strode purposefully into the war room, where Admiral Roberts greeted him with a firm handshake. "Commander, glad you could join us," Roberts said, gesturing to the central tactical display. "We're about to launch Operation Lighthouse. Your expertise with the Starforge component will be crucial." Harper nodded, his eyes already scanning the mission data. "I'm ready, sir. When do we depart?" "Immediately," Roberts replied. "Your flagship, the ESS Prometheus, is prepped and waiting in orbit." Within hours, Harper found himself on the bridge of the Prometheus, surrounded by Earth's most advanced technology and its finest officers. The massive wormhole generator hummed to life, tearing open a portal in space large enough for the entire task force to pass through. "All ships, prepare for transit," Harper ordered, his voice calm but tinged with anticipation. "Engage wormhole drive on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The fleet surged forward, crossing vast distances in mere moments. As they emerged on the other side, the mysterious planet loomed before them, its alien structure now fully visible. "Void Herald activity detected," called out the sensor officer, her fingers flying across her console. Multiple entities materializing in nearby space. Harper's mind raced, assessing the situation. "Activate Void Herald detection systems. All ships, assume defensive formation Delta 7. The task force moved with practiced precision, their ships forming a protective barrier around the Prometheus. As they approached the planet, the true scale of the alien structure became apparent. A colossal crystalline spire stretched from the planet's surface into its upper atmosphere, pulsing with otherworldly energy. "Deploy survey probes," Harper ordered. "I want detailed scans of that structure and its energy emissions." As the probes streaked towards the planet, Dr. Evelyn Reeves approached Harper's command station. "Commander, the probes are equipped with sensors based on the Starforge technology. We should get unprecedented data on the structure's composition and function." Harper nodded, his attention split between the incoming data and the increasing Void Herald presence. "Good. Start analyzing that data immediately, Doctor. We need to understand what we're dealing with." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. The spire on the planet's surface began to glow with intensifying energy. A beam of pure power erupted from its peak, tearing a hole in the fabric of reality itself. "Massive energy spike detected," shouted the science officer. It's creating some kind of portal." Harper watched in horror as a new wave of Void Herald entities poured through the rift, their numbers far exceeding anything they had encountered before. He knew they couldn't allow this incursion to continue unchecked. "All ships, engage the Void Heralds," Harper commanded. "Maintain distance from the rift. Use the new detection systems to anticipate their movements and target effectively." The space around the planet erupted into chaos as Earth's ships and their allies clashed with the energy-based entities. Beams of focused energy lanced out from the fleet, striking the Void Heralds with unprecedented accuracy. The new detection systems proved their worth, allowing the human forces to predict and counter the Herald's phasing patterns. In the midst of the battle, Harper received a transmission from Major Lucas Blackwood. "Commander, my team has landed near the base of the spire. We're seeing some incredible things down here. The area is covered in ruins, similar to what we found during the initial exploration." "Understood, Major," Harper replied. "Proceed with caution and gather what data you can. We'll provide air support if needed." As the battle raged on, Harper noticed something strange happening aboard the Prometheus. The Starforge component, secured in a specialized containment unit, had begun to pulse with increasing intensity. "Dr. Reeves," he called out, "what's happening with the Starforge component?" Reeves hurried over, her eyes widening as she observed the readings. It's resonating with the energy from the alien spire. The patterns are almost identical." "Commander, I think this might be the key to understanding and potentially controlling the structure's functions." Harper's mind raced with the implications. He knew he had to act fast. "Helm, set a course for the alien structure. We're going in close." "Sir?" the helmsman questioned, surprise evident in his voice. "You heard me, Lieutenant. Take us in. We need to test this resonance theory." As the Prometheus broke formation and approached the towering spire, the resonance between the Starforge component and the alien structure intensified. A visible energy link formed between the ship and the spire, pulsing with power. Suddenly, the rift created by the spire began to fluctuate wildly. The flow of Void Herald entities reversed, many being pulled back through the dimensional tear. "All ships, concentrate fire on the retreating heralds," Harper ordered, seizing the opportunity. The task force responded immediately, their weapons blazing as they inflicted significant damage on the disoriented entities. On the planet's surface, Major Blackwood's voice crackled over the comm. "Commander, something's happening down here. The ruins, they're activating, We're seeing holographic interfaces, complex symbols. This could be a control system for the spire. As Blackwood's team investigated the newly awakened ruins, the resonance between the Prometheus and the alien structure reached its peak. A massive shockwave of energy pulsed outward from the spire, washing over the battlefield. "Sir, the Void Heralds, they've solidified," the tactical officer reported, her voice filled with astonishment. "They've lost their ability to phase." Harper didn't hesitate. "All ships, this is our chance. Concentrate all firepower on the Void Heralds. Take them down while they're vulnerable." The combined firepower of the task force rained down on the now solid entities, inflicting unprecedented casualties. For the first time since the conflict began, humanity gained a significant advantage against their energy-based foes. As the immediate threat subsided, Harper ordered the fleet to establish a defensive perimeter around the planet. The alien spire continued to pulse with energy, its purpose still shrouded in mystery. "Major Blackwood," Harper called over the comm, "continue your investigation of those ruins. They might hold the key to understanding this technology and finding a permanent solution to the Void Herald threat." As the dust settled from their hard-fought victory, Harper knew that this was only the beginning. The discoveries made during this engagement had opened up new avenues of research and strategy, but they had also raised new questions about the true nature of the Void Heralds and the purpose of the ancient technology they'd encountered. With the perimeter secure and Blackwood's team delving deeper into the planet's secrets, Harper turned his attention to the next phase of Operation Lighthouse. The mysteries of the alien spire and its connection to the Void Heralds still loomed large, promising further challenges and discoveries in the battles to come. Commander Harper turned his attention to the planet's surface, where the next phase of Operation Lighthouse was already underway. "Major Blackwood, status report on the establishment of Alpha Site," he commanded through the comm channel. "Alpha Site is coming together rapidly, sir," Blackwood responded. "The prefab structures are in place, and we've set up a secure perimeter around the ruins. Dr. Reeves and her team are already neck-deep in the holographic interfaces." Harper nodded, satisfied with the progress. "Excellent work, Major. Keep me updated on any significant findings." As the Prometheus maintained its position above the planet, Chief Engineer Marcus Tanner approached Harper on the bridge. "Commander, we've begun the integration process for the Starforge component," he reported. "It's not going as smoothly as we'd hoped." Harper raised an eyebrow. "Elaborate, Chief." Tanner's brow furrowed as he pulled up a diagnostic display. "The component is highly reactive to the alien spire. It's constantly shifting and adapting its configuration. We're having trouble stabilizing the integration with our systems." "I see," Harper mused. "What's your plan to address this?" "We're implementing a series of adaptive algorithms to match the component's fluctuations," Tanner explained. "It's going to take time, but I believe we can achieve a stable integration." Harper nodded. "Make it happen, Chief. That component could be our key to understanding and controlling the spire." As Tanner returned to his work, Harper received an incoming transmission from Admiral Chen. The Admiral's holographic form materialized on the bridge. "Commander Harper, defensive perimeter is fully established," Chen reported. "We've implemented a rotating shift system to maintain constant vigilance while allowing for necessary maintenance and crew rest." "Good thinking, Admiral," Harper commended. "Any sign of Void Herald activity?" Chen shook his head. "Nothing significant so far. Our enhanced sensors are providing excellent coverage. We'll have early warning of any new rifts or energy anomalies." As Harper acknowledged the report, an urgent message came through from Alpha Site. "Commander!" Dr. Reeves's voice crackled over the comm. "We've made a significant discovery in the ruins. You need to see this." Harper wasted no time. Within minutes, he was on the surface, striding into the heart of Alpha Site. The prefabricated structures hummed with activity as scientists and military personnel moved purposefully through the compound. Dr. Reeves met him at the entrance to the ruins, her eyes alight with excitement. "This way, Commander," she said, leading him deeper into the ancient structure. As they entered a newly uncovered chamber, Harper's eyes widened. Before them stood a massive crystalline interface, pulsing with energy. Holographic star maps danced in the air, highlighting a network of spires across the galaxy. It's a control interface for the entire system, Reeves explained. And look here. She pointed to a specific point on the map. That's Earth. Harper's mind raced with the implications. This could be the breakthrough we've been looking for, he said. But we need to proceed carefully. The risks of activating unknown alien technology are too great to ignore. He tapped his comm badge. Tanner, I need you and your best engineers down here immediately. We're going to need your expertise with the Starforge integration. As they waited for Tanner's team to arrive, Harper studied the interface. The complexity of the system was staggering, but he could see the potential. If they could harness this technology, they might finally have a way to turn the tide against the Void Heralds. Tanner arrived with his team, immediately setting to work on analyzing the interface. As they worked, Harper's comm badge chirped. Commander, came the voice of his XO aboard the Prometheus. We're detecting an energy spike from the Starforge component. It seems to be reacting to something on the surface. Harper looked at Tanner, who was already pulling up data on his pad. The component is resonating with the control interface, the engineer explained. It's creating a feedback loop, amplifying its power output. A plan began to form in Harper's mind. Tanner, could we use this resonance to exert control over the spire? The engineer's eyes lit up. Theoretically, yes. If we can properly harness and direct that energy, we might be able to tap into the spire's systems. Harper nodded, his decision made. Prepare the Prometheus for atmospheric descent. We're going to position ourselves directly above the spire and attempt a takeover. As the crew scrambled to execute his orders, Harper felt the weight of the moment. This could be their chance to gain a significant advantage in the war against the Void Heralds. The Prometheus descended through the planet's atmosphere, its shields straining against the intensifying energy field surrounding the spire. On the bridge, Harper watched as the massive structure loomed ever closer. Starforge component at maximum power, Tanner reported. Ready to initiate the takeover sequence on your command. Harper took a deep breath. Initiate the sequence, Chief. A brilliant beam of energy erupted from the Prometheus, engulfing the alien spire in blinding light. The ship shuddered as the two energy sources clashed and intertwined. Energy patterns fluctuating wildly, called out the science officer. The spire is reacting to our intervention. Harper gripped the arms of his command chair, his eyes fixed on the interface. The fate of the mission, and perhaps the entire war, hung in the balance. As the energy continued to surge and pulse around them, he knew that the next few moments would determine whether they had just seized control of a powerful alien network or inadvertently triggered a catastrophe that could threaten the entire galaxy. The energy surge reached a crescendo, and for a moment time seemed to stand still. Then, with a thunderous crack, a massive shockwave erupted from the point of contact between the Prometheus's energy beam and the alien spire. The ship bucked violently, throwing crew members to the deck. Harper gripped his chair, nucleus tightening, as alarms blared across the bridge. Shields at 62% and falling, the tactical officer shouted over the din. Hull integrity holding, but we're taking a beating. Through the view screen, Harper watched as the atmosphere rippled with concentric waves of energy, spreading out from the spire in all directions. The alien structure itself pulsed with an otherworldly light, its crystalline surface shifting and realigning. Tanner, status on the Starforge component, Harper called out. The chief engineer's voice crackled over the comm, strained but determined. It's fully integrated now, Commander. Energy output is off the charts, but stable. We've achieved synchronization with the spire's systems. As if in response to Tanner's words, holographic interfaces suddenly materialized around the bridge. Complex symbols and diagrams hovered in the air, pulsing in time with the spire's energy. Sir, the science officer reported, her eyes wide as she scanned the new displays. We've established a connection to the spire's control systems. But this interface, it's incredibly complex. We're barely scratching the surface of what it can do. Harper nodded, his mind racing. Focus on decrypting what you can. Priority on defensive systems and anything related to the Void Heralds. A transmission from the surface cut through the chaos. Prometheus, this is Blackwood. You need to see this. The main view screen shifted to show the interior of the ruins. The crystalline structures were in motion, reconfiguring themselves into new patterns that mirrored the holographic displays on the bridge. Dr. Reeves's face appeared in a corner of the screen, her expression a mix of awe and concern. "Commander, the Starforge component has triggered a synchronization process with the entire planet-wide network," she explained rapidly. "The star maps are updating in real time and, oh my God." The display zoomed out, revealing a galactic map dotted with pulsing points of light. "These are all similar spires," Reeves continued, "and they're all activating. Harper, I think we've just alerted the entire Void Herald system." Harper's blood ran cold. He turned to his communications officer. "Send an emergency broadcast to Admiral Chen's fleet. Tell them to prepare for imminent contact." No sooner had the words left his mouth than the ship's sensors blared a new warning. Space itself seemed to twist and tear as multiple rifts began to form around the planet. "Multiple Void Herald signatures detected," the tactical officer shouted. "They're coming through in force." Harper's mind raced, weighing options in a split second. "Tanner, I need everything you can give me from that alien interface. Helm, maintain our position above the spire. Tactical, coordinate with Admiral Chen's fleet, and prepare all weapons." He opened a channel to the surface team. "Blackwood, I need you to push deeper into those ruins. Find anything that might give us an edge." As the orders flew from his lips, Harper watched the space around the planet erupt into chaos. The Void Heralds poured through the rifts, their energy forms more concentrated and aggressive than ever before. Admiral Chen's fleet engaged immediately, energy beams and distortion fields crisscrossing the void. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Harper stood at the center of a storm of information and activity. Holographic displays danced with alien symbols, sensor readings screamed warnings of the battle raging around them, and urgent communications flew back and forth between the ship, the surface team, and the defending fleet. In the midst of the chaos, Chief Engineer Tanner's voice cut through with a note of triumph. "Commander, we've begun a data upload from the alien systems. It's massive, centuries of information pouring into our databanks." Harper nodded grimly. "Good work, Tanner. Get to work on decrypting that data. I need answers, and I need them fast." As the battle raged and the mysterious alien technology hummed with power, Harper couldn't shake the feeling that they stood on the precipice of something monumental. The fate of humanity, perhaps of all life in the galaxy, hung in the balance, and the next few hours would determine whether they emerged victorious or plunged into darkness. Chaos or plunged into a new era of understanding and power. The weight of command had never felt heavier on Harper's shoulders. Suddenly, urgent reports flooded in from Admiral Chen's fleet. Harper's eyes widened as he processed the dire news. The Void Herald forces had breached the defensive perimeter, their ethereal forms slipping past Earth's most advanced defenses with terrifying ease. "Commander!" Chen's holographic form flickered urgently on the bridge. "We're losing ships fast. The Void Heralds are overwhelming us. We need a game changer now." Harper's mind raced, possibilities and consequences flashing through his thoughts at lightning speed. He turned to Tanner, who was already anticipating the order. "Chief, I need options. Can we use the Starforge component to disrupt the Void Herald's phasing abilities?" Tanner's fingers flew over the alien interface, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's possible, sir, but the energy requirements would be massive. We'd be pushing the system to its limits." "Do it," Harper commanded, his voice firm. "Initiate a disruption pulse. Target their ability to phase in and out of normal space." Tanner nodded, his hands dancing across the controls. The ship hummed with building energy, the Starforge component glowing with an intensity that made the air itself seem to vibrate. "Pulse ready, Commander," Tanner reported. "Initiating now." A blinding wave of energy erupted from the Prometheus, radiating outward in all directions. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the battlefield, Void Herald entities suddenly flickered into solid form, their ghostly outlines solidifying into tangible shapes. "Admiral Chen!" Harper called out, his voice tight with urgency. "The Void Heralds are vulnerable. Concentrate all fire now." Chen didn't need to be told twice. The space around the planet erupted in a dazzling display of weapons fire. Earth's ships, previously outmatched by the Void Herald's ability to phase through attacks, now found their targets unable to evade. Harper watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as Void Herald after Void Herald winked out of existence, overwhelmed by the sudden onslaught. For the first time since the war began, humanity was dealing significant damage to their enigmatic enemy. As the tide of battle began to turn, Harper's comm crackled with a transmission from the surface. Major Blackwood's voice came through, tinged with excitement and a hint of awe. "Commander, you're not going to believe what we found down here. We've uncovered a massive underground complex. It's a manufacturing facility, sir, for Starforge components." Harper's eyes widened at the implications. "Secure that facility, Major. We might have just found our key to turning this war around." Before he could fully process this new development, another alert sounded. Admiral Roberts' reinforcements had arrived, a massive fleet of Earth's most advanced warships emerging from the newly activated wormhole stations. "Commander Harper," Roberts' stern voice filled the bridge. "We stand ready to join the fight. What's the situation?" As Harper began to brief the Admiral, Dr. Reeves's face appeared on another screen, her eyes alight with discovery. "Commander, I've made a breakthrough with the alien data. The ascension process, it's reversible. We can bring the Void Heralds back to a physical form." The pieces of a plan began to form in Harper's mind, a daring strategy that could potentially end the war in one fell swoop. He turned to Tanner, his voice filled with purpose. "Chief, I need you to channel the full power of the Starforge component into the alien spire. We're going to attempt a large-scale de-ascension." Tanner's eyes widened. "Sir, the energy requirements for that would be astronomical. We'd be pushing the systems far beyond their known limits. The risks are necessary," Harper finished. "Prepare for full power transfer. This ends today." As the crew scrambled to execute his orders, a new alert blared across the bridge. Harper turned to the tactical display and felt his blood run cold. A massive rift had opened, dwarfing all others. From its swirling depths emerged a Void Herald entity of unprecedented size and power. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, his voice shaking slightly. "This entity, it's directing the other Void Heralds, and it's tearing through our ships like they're made of paper." Harper watched as the massive entity, quickly dubbed the Void Sovereign by the crew, systematically destroyed Earth ships with powerful energy projections. Admiral Roberts' voice cut through the chaos. "Harper, I'm ordering all available ships to form a defensive perimeter around the Prometheus and the Spire. Whatever you're planning, do it fast. We'll buy you as much time as we can." As Earth's fleet engaged in a desperate battle against the Void Sovereign, Harper felt the Prometheus vibrate with building energy. Tanner's voice came over the comm, strained but determined. "Commander, we're ready to initiate the de-ascension process. But sir, the energy levels we're dealing with, one wrong move and we could tear a hole in the fabric of space-time itself." Harper took a deep breath, knowing that the fate of humanity and perhaps the entire galaxy rested on the next few moments. "Understood, Chief. On my mark, initiate the process." As he prepared to give the order that would change the course of the war, a new transmission came in from the surface. Major Blackwood's voice was urgent and filled with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Commander, the crystalline entity in the stasis pod, it's waking up." Harper's mind raced with the implications of this new development. As the battle raged in space and the mysterious entity stirred on the planet below, he knew that the next few moments would determine the fate of the entire galaxy. With a deep breath, he prepared to give the order that would set in motion the most daring plan in human history. With a final glance at the tactical display showing the massive Void Sovereign tearing through Earth's defenses, Harper gave the command. "Initiate de-ascension process now." The Prometheus shuddered as the Starforge component unleashed its full power. A blinding surge of energy erupted from the ship, engulfing the planet below in a cascade of prismatic light. The bridge vibrated violently, consoles sparking as systems strained under the immense output. "Hull integrity at 87% and dropping," Tanner's voice crackled over the comm. "We're pushing way beyond safety limits, Commander." Harper gripped his chair, watching as the energy wave spread rapidly across the planet's surface. The ancient ruins below pulsed with newfound life, intricate patterns etching themselves into the ground. In orbit, the effect on the Void Heralds was immediate and dramatic. Admiral Roberts' voice cut through the chaos, tinged with awe. "Harper, you're not going to believe this. The Void Heralds, they're solidifying." The view screen showed the ethereal forms of the alien entities coalescing into tangible shapes. Energy beings became solid matter, their forms twisting and contorting as they materialized fully into physical space. "All ships, open fire!" Admiral Chen's command rang out. Earth's fleet, seizing the moment, launched a devastating barrage against the newly vulnerable Void Heralds. Weapons fire crisscrossed the void, each hit now finding purchase where before it would have passed harmlessly through. But the Void Sovereign remained resistant. Its massive form compressed, warping the space around it. Nearby ships began to list, caught in the growing gravitational distortion. "Pull back," Roberts ordered. "Maintain distance from the Sovereign and focus on the smaller entities." As the battle raged above, a new development unfolded on the planet's surface. Major Blackwood's urgent transmission cut through the din of combat. "Commander, the stasis pod, it's opening." Harper's attention snapped to the ground team's feed. The crystalline entity emerged from its ancient prison, its form a mesmerizing blend of organic and inorganic structures. It moved with fluid grace, immediately interfacing with the surrounding technology. "Sir," Blackwood reported, "the entity, we're calling it Alpha. It's stabilizing the de-ascension process. Energy output is becoming more controlled, more focused." Before Harper could respond, a violent tremor rocked the Prometheus. The Void Sovereign had launched a counterattack, a massive energy pulse rippling through space. Ship after ship in Chen's fleet went dark, systems overloaded by the alien assault. "We've lost power!" Chen's voice was tight with scarcely controlled panic. "Multiple ships disabled. We're sitting ducks up here." Harper's mind raced, assessing options in split seconds. The Void Sovereign was growing, absorbing the energy meant to de-ascend it. They needed to amplify the effect, to overcome the entity's resistance. His eyes locked onto the alien spire jutting from the planet's surface, an idea forming. "Tanner, prepare for atmospheric entry. We're taking the Prometheus down." "Sir?" The chief engineer's voice was incredulous. "The strain on the hull will be—" "A necessary risk," Harper cut him off. "Plot a course for the alien spire. We're going to connect the Starforge component directly to its systems." As the Prometheus began its descent, the ship's hull glowed red-hot from the friction of entry. Tanner's voice was strained as he worked to maintain structural integrity while managing the Starforge's increasing power output. "Commander, we're cutting it close," he warned. "Any closer to the spire, and we'll clip our wings." Harper watched the massive structure grow larger in the view screen, his hands clenched tight. "Steady as she goes, Tanner. This is our only shot." On the ground, Blackwood's team escorted Alpha deeper into the underground complex. They entered a vast chamber filled with pulsing crystalline structures. Alpha moved purposefully towards a central console, its form seeming to merge with the ancient technology. "Harper, Alpha's interfacing with the systems here," Blackwood reported. "It's creating some kind of feedback loop, amplifying the de-ascension wave." The ruins around them shifted, previously hidden defense systems springing to life. Energy beams lanced upward from the planet's surface, targeting the remaining Void Herald forces in the sky. In orbit, Admiral Roberts coordinated a desperate maneuver. "All functional ships, form up around the disabled vessels. Create a defensive barrier. Buy them time to restore power." Earth's remaining fleet moved into formation, a wall of metal and energy standing between the vulnerable ships and the raging Void Sovereign. The Prometheus, hull creaking under the stress, approached the base of the alien spire. Harper's voice was steady as he gave the order. "Extend energy conduits. Prepare for direct connection to the spire's systems." As the ship made contact, the entire planet seemed to tremble. A massive beam of energy erupted from the spire's peak, engulfing the Void Sovereign in a blinding light. The combined force of the amplified de-ascension wave, Alpha's manipulation of the ancient technology and the direct link between the Prometheus and the Spire began to overwhelm the Sovereign's defenses. Its massive form started to fragment, breaking apart into smaller, more manageable pieces. Roberts seized the moment. "All ships, concentrate fire on the Sovereign. This is our chance." The space around the planet erupted in a dazzling display of weapons fire as Earth's fleet launched everything they had at the weakening entity. The Sovereign's fragments, now vulnerable to conventional weapons, began to disintegrate under the relentless assault. On the planet's surface, Alpha communicated with Blackwood's team through a series of holographic displays. Complex symbols and diagrams flashed by, revealing crucial information about the Void Heralds and the true purpose of the Ascension technology. As the battle reached its peak, Harper watched the tactical display with held breath. The Void Sovereign was weakening, but not yet defeated. The full implications of the de-ascension process remained unknown. With Earth's fate hanging in the balance, Harper knew the next few moments would determine the outcome of this pivotal confrontation. Moment. The Void Sovereign's massive form began to fracture, its energy fluctuating wildly as the combined assault from Earth's forces and the ancient planetary defenses took their toll. Harper watched the tactical display, his eyes darting between the fragmenting Sovereign and the status readings of the Prometheus. The ship shuddered violently, the hull creaking under the immense strain of channeling power through the alien spire. "Commander!" Tanner's voice crackled over the comm, urgent and strained. "We're redlining across all systems, hull integrity dropping to critical levels." Harper gripped his chair tighter, feeling the vibrations intensify. "Hold it together, Chief. Just a little longer." In orbit, Admiral Roberts' voice cut through the chaos. "Harper, we've got full power restored to the fleet, concentrating all fire on the Sovereign now." The view screen erupted in a dazzling display of weapon fire as Earth ships launched a coordinated barrage against the weakening entity. The Void Sovereign's form compressed further, warping the space around it as it struggled to maintain cohesion. On the planet's surface, Major Blackwood's team worked frantically alongside Alpha in the underground complex. The crystalline being moved with fluid grace, interfacing with consoles and activating long-dormant systems. "Commander," Blackwood reported, his voice tinged with awe, "Alpha's unlocked some kind of master control terminal. It's activating a planet-wide energy field." As if on cue, the ground beneath them trembled. Hidden structures emerged from the Earth, ancient weapon systems powering up and taking aim at the sky. Beams of energy lanced upward, joining the assault on the Void Sovereign and its diminishing forces. In orbit, the smaller Void Herald entities began to fully materialize, their ethereal forms solidifying into tangible matter. Admiral Chen seized the opportunity, her voice ringing out with authority. "All ships, target those newly corporeal entities. Don't let them regroup." Earth's fleet adjusted their fire, picking off the vulnerable X-Heralds with precision strikes. The space around the planet lit up with explosions as ship after ship found their mark. Aboard the Prometheus, warning klaxons blared as the ship's systems strained under the continuous energy transfer. Harper could see hairline fractures forming along the bulkheads, the metal groaning under the stress. "Tanner, status report," Harper barked, his eyes fixed on the alien spire visible through the view screen. "We're pushing way beyond safety limits, sir." Tanner's voice was nearly drowned out by the sound of sparking consoles. "Any more power, and we risk a total systems failure." Harper's mind raced, weighing the risks against the potential payoff. The Void Sovereign was weakening, but not fast enough. They needed more power, more force to break through its defenses. Suddenly, the tactical display lit up with new alerts. The Void Sovereign, in a desperate bid for survival, began to draw energy from nearby stars. The cosmic bodies flickered and dimmed, their life force being drained to fuel the entity's last stand. "Sir," the science officer called out, her voice tight with concern, "if this continues, it could destabilize the entire star system." Harper's fists tight. There was no choice now. They had to end this at any expense. "Tanner," he commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos around him, "divert all remaining power to the Spire connection. Give it everything we've got." "Sir, that could tear the ship apart," Tanner protested. It's a risk we have to take, Harper replied grimly. Do it. As Tanner complied, the Prometheus shuddered violently. The energy conduits connecting the ship to the alien spire glowed white-hot, the transfer of power reaching unprecedented levels. On the planet below, Alpha's actions in the underground complex triggered a chain reaction. The entire planet seemed to come alive, long dormant energy conduits beneath the surface activating and channeling power from the core itself. The alien spire pulsed with newfound energy, its beam intensifying to blinding levels. The amplified assault struck the Void Sovereign with devastating force, causing its already fractured form to collapse inward. All ships, pull back! Admiral Roberts' voice rang out in warning. The entity is imploding. Earth fleet retreated to a safe distance, narrowly avoiding the gravitational pull of the collapsing Sovereign. The massive being twisted in on itself, forming a swirling vortex of pure energy. In the underground complex, Alpha's form flickered urgently. Through a series of rapid holographic projections, it communicated a dire warning to Blackwood's team. Commander, Blackwood's voice was tense as he relayed the message. Alpha says the Sovereign's collapse could release enough energy to destroy the planet and tear a hole in space-time itself. It's proposing we use the Planetary Defense Network to create a containment field. Harper's mind raced, processing the implications. The Prometheus groaned around him, systems failing under the continued strain. There was no time for debate. Do it, Harper ordered, his voice resolute. Tanner, prepare for emergency disconnect and rapid ascent. We're getting out of here. As the Prometheus disengaged from the alien spire and began its ascent, Alpha initiated the containment protocol. The planetary defense systems redirected their energy output, forming a massive dome-like field in the upper atmosphere. The Void Sovereign's form finally gave way, imploding with a force that shook the very fabric of space. The containment field strained under the onslaught but held, trapping the catastrophic energy release within its boundaries. Harper watched from the rising Prometheus as the planet below was engulfed in a blinding flash of light. The ship's sensors struggled to make sense of the readings, overloaded by the sheer magnitude of the energy involved. All Earth forces, this is Commander Harper, he broadcast on all frequencies. Initiate immediate evacuation. I repeat, evacuate the planet now. As the Prometheus led the retreat, Harper could see the planet's surface beginning to fracture. Massive fissures opened up, revealing the molten core beneath. The alien spire, still pulsing with energy, began to sink into one of these chasms. Admiral Roberts' voice cut through the chaos. Harper, we're launching all available shuttles and transports. We need to get our people off that planet before it tears itself apart. The space around the dying planet became a frenzied dance of ships as Earth's forces scrambled to evacuate. The Prometheus, despite its heavily damaged state, used its remaining power to create a stable corridor for the smaller vessels. On the surface, Major Blackwood's team raced against time. Alpha had revealed one final piece of crucial information, the location of a hidden repository containing the complete knowledge of the ancient civilization. Commander! Blackwood's voice was breathless as he and his team sprinted through collapsing tunnels. We're going after that data. It could be the key to preventing something like this from ever happening again. Harper wanted to order them back to ensure their safety, but he knew the potential value of that information. Understood, Major, but make it fast. We won't be able to hold position for long. As the evacuation continued and Blackwood's team made their daring run for the repository, Harper watched the containment field fluctuate dangerously. The planet was coming apart at the seams, and time was running out. The fate of Earth's forces, the invaluable data, and the very planet itself hung in the balance as the final moments of this epic confrontation played out. Harper steeled himself for the difficult decisions that lay ahead, knowing that the next few minutes would determine not just the outcome of this battle, but potentially the future of humanity itself. As the blinding flash subsided, Harper watched the planet's surface continue to fracture and break apart. The Prometheus, battered but still operational, led the retreat of Earth's forces from the dying world. All ships, report status, Harper commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "Admiral Roberts here," came the response. "We've got multiple ships with critical damage, but everyone's accounted for. Blackwood's team made it off-planet with the repository data." Harper allowed himself a brief moment of relief before refocusing on the task at hand. "Set course for Earth. We need to get this information back to command as soon as possible." As the fleet prepared to jump to faster-than-light travel, the sensors on the Prometheus picked up residual energy readings. Harper frowned, studying the data. "Sir," the science officer reported, "we're detecting Void Herald energy signatures in nearby star systems. They're faint, but present." Harper's teeth clenched. "Looks like this fight isn't over yet. Prioritize that data for transmission to Earth." The fleet engaged their FTL drives, the stars blurring into streaks of light as they began their journey home. Harper initiated a series of urgent communications with Earth's High Command, relaying the details of their encounter with the Void Sovereign and the potential ongoing threats. Hours into their journey, Admiral Roberts' voice came over the comm. "Commander Harper, we've received new orders from Earth. We're to make an intermediate stop at Centauri Prime for emergency repairs and to offload the wounded." The fleet dropped out of FTL near the massive space station orbiting Alpha Centauri A. As they approached, Harper could see the extent of the damage to their ships. Hull breaches, scorched armor plating, and flickering shield generators were visible on nearly every vessel. The Prometheus shuddered as it docked with Centauri Prime. The moment the airlock sealed, medical teams rushed aboard, whisking away the injured to the station's advanced medical facilities. Engineering crews swarmed over the exterior of the ship, assessing the damage. Harper made his way to the station's command center, where he found Admiral Roberts in discussion with the station's commander. As he approached, Roberts turned to him with a grim expression. "We've got a situation, Harper. Long-range sensors have detected a surge of Void Herald energy signatures converging on the Tau Ceti system." Harper's blood ran cold. "Tau Ceti? That's one of our largest off-world colonies." Roberts nodded. "Over 5 million people. They've got a significant defense force, but it may not be enough against a full-scale Herald assault." The Admiral's face was etched with the weight of the decision before him. "I'm splitting the fleet. Admiral Chen will take our least damaged ships to reinforce Tau Ceti. The rest of us, including the Prometheus, will continue to Earth with the data and recovered technology." Harper watched as the engineering teams worked feverishly to outfit Chen's task force with makeshift versions of the anti-Void Herald weapons they developed during the recent battle. The modifications were hasty and untested, but they represented the colony's best hope for survival. As Chen's ships prepared to depart, Harper approached her on the dock. "Good luck out there, Sarah. Give them hell." Chen's eyes were steel as she nodded. "We'll hold the line, Jack. Just make sure that data gets to Earth. It might be the key to ending this war." Harper watched as Chen's task force disengaged from the station and jumped to FTL, racing towards Tau Ceti and the battle that awaited them. Back aboard the Prometheus, Harper oversaw the final repairs and preparations for their own departure. The ship's hull had been patched, but the damage ran deep. Systems flickered and sputtered, pushed to their limits by the recent battle. As they prepared to undock, a transmission came through from Earth. Dr. Marcus Chen, lead scientist on the Starforge project, appeared on the main view screen. "Commander Harper, we've made a breakthrough with the repository data," Chen said, his eyes alight with excitement. "We've discovered information about a network of dormant defense platforms created by the ancient civilization. If we can reactivate them, they could provide a powerful defensive grid against the Void Heralds." Harper leaned forward, intrigued. "What do we need to do?" "The activation process requires specific energy signatures," Chen explained. "We can generate them using modified Starforge components. The Global Defense Council has authorized an expedition to locate and reactivate these platforms. They want you to lead it, Commander." As the implications of this new mission sank in, Harper felt a mix of anticipation and trepidation. The fight against the Void Heralds was just the beginning, but for the first time since the conflict began, he felt a glimmer of hope. "Understood, Doctor," Harper replied. "We'll make for Earth at best speed. Have your team ready to begin modifications on the Prometheus as soon as we arrive." As the Prometheus disengaged from Centauri Prime and prepared to jump to FTL, Harper's thoughts turned to Admiral Chen and her task force, racing towards Tau Ceti and the impending Void Herald attack. He silently wished them luck, knowing that the outcome of that battle could shape the course of the war to come. The stars outside the view screen blurred once more as the Prometheus leapt into faster-than-light travel, carrying its crew, its precious cargo of ancient data, and the hopes of humanity towards Earth and the next phase of their desperate struggle against the Void Heralds. The Prometheus emerged from FTL on the outskirts of Earth's solar system, its hull bearing the scars of recent battles. Commander Jack Harper stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the blue-green orb of humanity's homeworld, growing larger on the screen. "Initiate docking procedures with Lunar Base Alpha," Harper ordered, his voice carrying a mix of exhaustion and grit. As the ship maneuvered into position, Harper's comm unit chimed. Dr. Marcus Chen's face appeared on the screen, his expression a blend of excitement and urgency. "Commander, we've made significant progress with the repository data," Chen reported. "We've uncovered coordinates for a hidden manufacturing facility on Mars. It could be the key to mass-producing modified Starforge components." Harper's eyebrows raised. "That could give us the edge we need. What's the plan?" "The Global Defense Council has already dispatched a team led by Dr. Evelyn Reeves to investigate and reactivate the facility," Chen explained. "But that's not all. We've also located the first of the ancient defense platforms. It's in the Epsilon Eridani system." Before Harper could respond, another transmission cut in. Admiral Roberts' stern visage filled the screen. "Commander Harper, new orders from Earth High Command," Roberts announced. "You're to lead a mission to activate that defense platform immediately. It's a critical location for Earth's defense network." Harper nodded, already mentally preparing for the task ahead. "Understood, Admiral. We'll depart as soon as repairs are complete." As the Prometheus docked with Lunar Base Alpha, Harper's thoughts turned to Admiral Sarah Chen and her task force. They should have reached Tau Ceti by now, he realized. He hoped the reinforcements had arrived in time. Little did he know, Chen's fleet was facing an unexpected challenge. As they approached the Tau Ceti system, they encountered a massive debris field, the remnants of a destroyed Void Herald fleet. "All ships reduce speed," Chen commanded, her voice tense. "Navigate with extreme caution. Sensors, scan for any active Void Herald signatures." The task force picked its way through the field of twisted metal and crystalline fragments. Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Indomitable, watching as her ships carefully maneuvered around the larger pieces of debris. "Admiral," her science officer called out, "we're detecting residual energy patterns in the wreckage. It appears these heralds were destroyed by some kind of unknown weapon." Chen's brow furrowed. "Unknown weapon? Can you determine its origin?" "Negative, ma'am. The energy signature doesn't match anything in our database." As they slowly navigated the debris field, precious hours ticked by. Chen knew every minute could mean the difference between salvation and destruction for the Tau Ceti colony. Meanwhile, on Mars, Dr. Evelyn Reeves and her team had located the hidden manufacturing facility. They stood before a massive door built into the side of a mountain, its surface covered in intricate alien designs. "This is it," Reeves breathed, her hand hovering over a control panel. "Let's hope this place is still operational after all these millennia." She pressed her palm to the panel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a deep rumble, the door began to slide open, revealing a cavernous space filled with dormant machinery. As Reeves and her team entered, lights flickered to life, illuminating row after row of advanced manufacturing equipment. They made their way to a central control station, where Reeves began the process of reactivating the ancient systems. Suddenly, a holographic interface sprang to life, startling the team. A figure composed of swirling light appeared before them. "Security protocol activated," the hologram announced in a melodious voice. "State your purpose." Reeves stepped forward. "We're here to reactivate this facility. Earth is under threat from entities known as Void Heralds. We need to produce weapons and technology to defend ourselves." The hologram paused as if processing this information. "Threat assessment verified. This facility is capable of producing not only Starforge components, but also advanced weaponry designed specifically to combat energy-based life forms, initiating production protocols. As the facility hummed to life around them, Reeves couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. They might just have found the key to turning the tide against the Void Heralds. Back in space, the Prometheus, newly repaired and resupplied, made the jump to the Epsilon Eridani system. As they approached the coordinates of the ancient defense platform, the ship's sensors began to light up. "Commander," the tactical officer reported, "we're detecting a massive structure ahead. It appears to be powering up in response to our approach." Harper leaned forward in his command chair. "Bring us in closer. Prepare to board." As the Prometheus drew near, the platform fully activated, its surface coming alive with pulsing energy. Harper led a team across to the ancient structure, marveling at the advanced technology that had lain dormant for so long. Inside the platform, they found a control center filled with crystalline interfaces. Harper approached the central console, carrying a modified Starforge component. As he placed it into a receptacle, the entire platform thrummed with power. "Integrating Earth technology with platform systems," the ship's AI reported. "Defensive grid coming online." Harper watched as a holographic display showed the energy field generated by the platform expanding outward, encompassing the entire system. Long-range scans revealed the true nature of this field. It was stabilizing space-time itself, making it far more difficult for Void Heralds to create rifts or phase in and out of normal space. As the defense platform came fully online, Harper allowed himself a moment of satisfaction, but he knew this was just the beginning. The war against the Void Heralds was a long way to go, and if the ancient warning was to be believed, an even greater threat loomed on the horizon. With the Epsilon Eridani defense platform secured, Harper turned his attention to the next phase of their strategy. The Prometheus would need to coordinate with Earth's forces, integrating the newly awakened hybrid entities and the advanced weapons being produced on Mars. As he prepared to contact Earth High Command, Harper's thoughts once again turned to Admiral Chen and the battle at Tau Ceti. He hoped the defense platform's activation would turn the tide not just here, but across all fronts of this cosmic war. Conflict. He hoped the defense platform's activation would turn the tide not just here, but across all fronts of this cosmic war. As the Prometheus prepared to depart the Epsilon Eridani system, Harper received an urgent transmission from Earth High Command. Admiral Ethan Roberts' face appeared on the console, his expression grave. "Commander Harper, we have new orders for you," Roberts announced. "Long-range scans have detected energy signatures in the Sirius system consistent with another ancient defense platform. Your mission is to proceed there immediately and activate it." Harper nodded, already formulating a plan. "Understood, Admiral. We'll set course for Sirius right away." As the Prometheus jumped to FTL, Harper briefed his crew on their new objective. The ship's corridors buzzed with renewed energy as the team prepared for their next challenge. Meanwhile, in the Tau Ceti system, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, her eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing the approach of unknown vessels. The debris field from the destroyed Void Herald fleet drifted silently around them, a stark reminder of the recent battle. "All ships, maintain defensive positions," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Be ready for anything." As the unknown vessels drew closer, they commitment into sleek, otherworldly shapes that seemed to blur the line between energy and matter. Chen's tactical officer reported, "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the lead ship. It's in multiple formats, including some we've never seen before." "Put it through," Chen commanded, steeling herself for first contact with a potentially new alien race. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being of swirling energy and light. Its voice, when it spoke, seemed to resonate directly in their minds. "Greetings, defenders of Tau Ceti. We are the Etherii, and we come in peace. We have long observed the conflict between organic life and the Void Heralds, and we wish to open diplomatic channels with humanity." Chen's mind raced with the implications of this encounter. She chose her words carefully, aware that the fate of humanity might hinge on this conversation. "On behalf of Earth and its colonies, I welcome you. I am Admiral Sarah Chen. We are grateful for your peaceful intentions, but I must ask, Why have you chosen to reveal yourselves now? The Etherii representative's form shimmered as it responded. The activation of the ancient defense platform in Epsilon Eridana has shifted the balance of power in this sector. We believe the time has come to join forces against the greater threat that looms beyond the Void Heralds. As Chen engaged in this historic dialogue, her second-in-command discreetly sent an encrypted message to Earth, informing the Global Defense Council of the situation. On Mars, Dr. Evelyn Reeves stood in the cavernous manufacturing facility, watching with a mix of awe and drive as the ancient machinery hummed to life. Robotic arms assembled components at incredible speeds, creating advanced weaponry and technology that would soon be shipped to the front lines. Dr. Reeves, one of her assistants, called out, "You need to see this." Reeves hurried over to a holographic display where her team had been analyzing the facility's database. As she scanned the newly decrypted information, her eyes widened. A superweapon, she breathed, her mind already racing with possibilities, capable of disrupting the Void Overseer's influence across vast stretches of space. She quickly began making notes, comparing the superweapon's specifications to Earth's existing technology. It would be a monumental undertaking, but with the resources of this facility and humanity's desperate ingenuity, it might just be possible. In a remote system far from the front lines, Major Lucas Blackwood stood before three towering crystalline structures. As he watched, the structures began to pulse with internal light, and the stasis field surrounding them dissipated. Three beings emerged, their bodies a mesmerizing blend of organic and crystalline forms. They turned to face Blackwood and his team, their voices resonating with ancient power. "We are Primus, Secundus, and Tertius," the first being announced. "We were created to stand against the darkness that threatens all of existence." Blackwood stepped forward, his voice filled with urgency. "We need your help. Earth is under attack by entities we call the Void Heralds. Can you tell us more about the threat we're facing?" Primus's crystalline form shimmered as it responded. "The Void Heralds are but the vanguard of a much greater enemy. They serve the Void Overseer, a cosmic intelligence that seeks to unmake reality itself." As the hybrid entities shared their knowledge, Blackwood realized the true scale of the conflict they were engaged in. He immediately began preparing a report for the Global Defense Council, knowing that this information would reshape humanity's entire strategy. Back on the Prometheus, Commander Harper stood on the bridge as the ship dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the Sirius system. The view screen lit up with sensor data, revealing the presence of another massive structure, the next ancient defense platform. "Take us in, nice and easy," Harper ordered. "Let's hope this one activates as smoothly as the last." As the Prometheus approached the dormant platform, Harper couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. With each activated platform, humanity's chances of survival grew stronger. But he also knew that greater challenges lay ahead. Challenges that would test the limits of their newfound allies, their advanced technology, and their own willpower to survive in a universe more dangerous and wondrous than they had ever imagined. But humanity was not alone in this fight, and with each passing day, their chances of survival grew stronger. As the Prometheus entered the Sirius system, Commander Harper's anticipation turned to unease. The ship's sensors picked up unexpected energy signatures scattered throughout the system. "Commander," the tactical officer reported, "we're detecting multiple vessels of unknown origin. They appear to be in defensive formations around the defense platform." Harper leaned forward, his brow furrowing. "Hail them. Let's see who we're dealing with." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a stern-faced man with graying hair and piercing blue eyes. "This is Victor Roth, leader of the Sirius Free Coalition. You are trespassing in our territory. State your purpose or leave immediately." Harper kept his voice level as he responded. "I'm Commander Jack Harper of the Earthship Prometheus. We're here on a critical mission to activate the ancient defense platform. The fate of humanity depends on it." Roth's eyes narrowed. "That platform is under our protection. We discovered it years ago, and we won't hand it over to Earth's military without proper compensation." Harper's mind raced, weighing his options. He opened a secure channel to Earth High Command, quickly briefing Admiral Roberts on the situation. "Commander, Robert's voice crackled through the comm. You have authorization to use limited force if necessary. That platform must be activated at all costs. Harper nodded, then turned back to the view screen. Mr. Roth, I urge you to reconsider. We're facing an existential threat that endangers all of humanity, including your people. Let us activate the platform, and we can discuss fair compensation afterward. Roth's face hardened. We've heard Earth's promises before, Harper. They mean nothing out here. You have 1 hour to leave the system, or we'll open fire. As the transmission cut off, Harper turned to his crew. Battle stations, prepare for potential engagement. But remember, these are our own people, minimal force only. The bridge erupted into activity as the crew readied for conflict. Harper watched the tactical display, noting the positions of Roth's ships. They were numerous but appeared to be retrofitted civilian vessels, no match for the Prometheus in a direct fight. Sir, the communications officer called out, we're receiving a transmission from Mars. It's Dr. Reeves. Harper nodded, and Evelyn Reeves' face appeared on the screen. She looked exhausted but exhilarated. Commander, we've made a breakthrough. We've successfully integrated Starforge components with the manufacturing facility systems. We have a working prototype of the superweapon. Harper's eyes widened. That's incredible news, Doctor. What's the catch? Reeves's expression turned grim. The power requirements are astronomical. We're working on new energy sources, but it's going to take time. How are things on your end? Harper quickly filled her in on the situation in Sirius. Reeves listened intently, her scientific mind already working on potential solutions. Commander, she said, if you can activate that platform, it might provide us with valuable data on ancient power generation technology. It could be the key to solving our energy problem. Harper nodded. Understood, Doctor. We'll do whatever it takes to get that platform online. As the call ended, Harper turned his attention back to the standoff with Roth's forces. The hour was almost up, and tension filled the bridge. Suddenly, the tactical officer called out, Sir, Roth's ships are powering up weapons. Harper's voice rang out clear and firm. Evasive maneuvers. Target their weapon systems only. Disable, don't destroy. The Prometheus surged into action, its advanced systems easily outmaneuvering the colonists' ships. Precision strikes from the Earth vessel's weapons took out the attackers' offensive capabilities with minimal damage to their hulls. As the brief skirmish ended, Harper opened a channel to Roth. Your ships are disabled but intact. I'm sending over boarding parties to secure your vessels. I suggest you stand down and let us complete our mission. Roth's face appeared on the screen, a mixture of anger and grudging respect in his eyes. You've made your point, Harper. We'll stand down, but this isn't over. With the immediate threat neutralized, Harper led a team to the ancient defense platform. As they approached the massive structure, its surface began to pulse with energy, responding to their presence. Harper placed a Starforge component into the platform's central console, and the entire structure hummed to life. Holographic displays sprang up around them, showing the platform's systems coming online. Suddenly, a massive energy pulse emanated from the platform, rippling through the entire system. Harper watched in awe as the invisible became visible. Void Herald entities, previously undetectable, flickered into view before quickly fading away. My God, Harper breathed. He quickly opened a channel to Earth Command. Admiral Roberts, the Sirius platform is online, but there's more. It emitted some kind of pulse that briefly revealed Void Herald presence in the system. This could be a game changer for our tactical operations. As Harper relayed the information, he couldn't help but feel a surge of hope. With each activated platform, each scientific breakthrough, and each new ally, humanity's chances grew stronger. But he knew the true test was yet to come. In the vast expanse of space, the pieces of a cosmic chess game were moving into place. The Void Heralds were massing in the Orion Arm, Earth's fleets were deploying to strategic locations, and the ancient guardians were awakening. As Harper gazed out at the stars from the platform's observation deck, he knew that the next move would shape the fate of not just humanity, but all of reality itself. As Harper gazed out at the stars from the platform's observation deck, his comm unit chirped urgently. It was Admiral Roberts. Commander, We've got a situation in the Procyon system. Captain Ramirez's team has made a breakthrough that could change everything. Harper's pulse quickened. What kind of breakthrough, sir? They've awakened a group of hybrid guardians, 47 in total. These entities possess knowledge and abilities that could turn the tide of this war. I need you to rendezvous with Major Blackwood's task force immediately. You'll be overseeing the transport of advanced weaponry from Procyon to our key installations. Understood, Admiral. We're on our way. As the Prometheus prepared to depart Sirius, Harper received another transmission, this time from Dr. Reeves on Mars. Commander, we've initiated the full-scale test of the superweapon prototype, Reeves said, her voice tight with anticipation. The results are, well, you need to see this for yourself. A holographic display materialized before Harper, showing a vast energy field expanding across the Martian surface. The sheer scale of the effect was staggering. This disruption field could sever the Void Overseer's connection to its minions, Reeves explained. We're working on a network of these weapons, but the energy requirements are immense. Harper nodded, his mind racing with the tactical implications. Keep me updated, Doctor. This could be the edge we need. As the Prometheus entered FTL, Harper briefed his crew on their new mission. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel in the Procyon system, where they were immediately hailed by Major Blackwood. Commander Harper, glad you could join us, Blackwood's face appeared on the display. We've got a lot of ground to cover. The hybrid guardians are eager to assist, especially their leader, Quartus. Harper watched as a striking figure stepped into view beside Blackwood. Quartus was a mesmerizing blend of organic and crystalline forms, emanating an aura of ancient power. Greetings, Commander. Quartus's voice resonated with otherworldly depth. We stand ready to aid humanity in this conflict. The weapons we've provided are specifically designed to combat energy-based entities like the Void Heralds. Over the next few hours, Harper coordinated with Blackwood and Quartus to organize the transportation of the ancient weaponry. As they worked, Quartus shared crucial information about the nature of their enemy. The Void Overseer's influence can be traced to a specific point in space. The Nexus, Quartus explained. A targeted strike against this location could potentially weaken or even sever the Overseer's control over its forces. Harper immediately relayed this information to Admiral Roberts, who began formulating plans for a daring offensive operation. As the task force prepared to depart Procyon, alarms blared across the Prometheus. Harper rushed to the bridge, where his tactical officer was already pulling up a holographic display of nearby space. Sir, we're detecting a massive energy surge at the edge of the system, the officer reported. It's a Void Herald assault force, larger than anything we've encountered before. Harper's mind focused. Battle stations, all ships, form up on the Prometheus. We need to buy time for the transport vessels to escape with the weaponry. The space around Procyon erupted into chaos as the Void Heralds descended upon the human fleet. Energy beams lanced through the void, met by the newly acquired ancient weapons. The hybrid guardians joined the fray, their unique abilities creating havoc among the enemy ranks. In the midst of the battle, Harper received an urgent communication from Earth. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression grim. Commander, the Void Heralds have launched a coordinated assault across multiple fronts. Alpha Centauri is under heavy attack. We're deploying everything we have, including our Etherii allies, but it's not enough. We need those weapons from Procyon, and we need them now. Harper nodded, his mind racing through tactical scenarios. Understood, Admiral. We'll get them to you, no matter the consequences. As the battle raged around them, Harper turned to Quartus. You said the Nexus is the key to the Void Overseer's power. If we can find a way to strike at it directly, could we end this war? Quartus's crystalline form shimmered as he considered the question. It's possible, but reaching the Nexus would be a perilous journey. The Void Overseer will defend it with all its might. Harper's eyes narrowed with drive. Then we'll just have to be smarter and hit harder. Major Blackwood, get those transport ships out of here. We'll cover your retreat. As Blackwood's ships prepared to jump to FTL, Harper opened a channel to all Allied vessels in the system. This is Commander Harper. We're going to punch a hole through their lines. Concentrate all fire on Sector 7. Let's show these Void Heralds what humanity is made of. The combined forces of Earth, the hybrid Guardians, and their advanced weaponry surged forward, carving a path through the Void Herald swarms. As the transport ship slipped away into FTL, Harper allowed himself a small smile. They had secured a vital victory, but he knew the real battle was just beginning. With the ancient weapons en route to key defensive positions and plans for a strike against the Nexus taking shape, Harper set a course for Alpha Centauri. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and he intended to be at the forefront of the fight. As Harper set course for Alpha Centauri, his comm unit crackled to life. Admiral Roberts' voice came through, urgent and tense. "Change of plans, Commander. We've got a situation in Alpha Centauri that's forcing us to reassess our entire strategy." Harper leaned forward, brow furrowed. "What's happening, sir?" "The Void Heralds have suddenly pulled back. At first we thought we'd gained the upper hand, but then—" Roberts paused, his voice heavy. "A massive construct emerged from a newly formed rift. We're calling it the Void Citadel. It's unlike anything we've ever seen." Harper's mind raced as he processed this information. "How big are we talking, Admiral?" "It dwarfs our largest battleships, Commander, and its energy signature is playing havoc with our sensors. We need to adjust our plans immediately." As Roberts outlined the new strategy, Harper nodded, his mind focused. "Understood, sir. We'll divert to Epsilon Indi as ordered. The Prometheus will give them a fight they won't forget." After ending the transmission, Harper turned to his crew. "Change of plans, people. We're heading to Epsilon Indi for a diversionary attack. I want all departments prepped and ready. We'll be using those micro-wormholes we've been studying to our advantage." The bridge erupted into a flurry of activity as the crew prepared for their new mission. Lieutenant Chen, the science officer, approached Harper with a holographic display of the Epsilon Indi system. "Sir, I've been analyzing the micro-wormhole data from Sirius. If we can predict their formation patterns, we might be able to use them to outmaneuver the Void Heralds." Harper nodded approvingly. "Good thinking, Lieutenant. Work with Tactical to integrate this into our attack plan." As the Prometheus sped towards Epsilon Indi, Harper received updates from across the front lines. Major Blackwood's convoy had been rerouted to Alpha Centauri, carrying the hybrid Guardian's advanced weaponry. Quartus himself was leading a strike team against the Void Citadel. On Mars, Dr. Reeves and her team were pushing their superweapon prototype to its limits, adapting it to target the Citadel. Harper marveled at the ingenuity of his fellow humans, each playing their part in this cosmic chess game. The Prometheus dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Epsilon Indi system. Harper stood at the command console, surveying the tactical display. The Void Herald staging area loomed before them, a mass of swirling energy and alien structures. "All hands, battle stations," Harper ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. "Tactical, implement Chen's micro-wormhole predictions. Let's show these Void Heralds what we're made of." The Prometheus surged forward, its advanced systems humming with power. As they approached the enemy formation, space itself seemed to ripple and distort. Micro-wormholes blinked into existence, their unpredictable nature creating a chaotic battlefield. Harper watched as his crew expertly maneuvered through the spatial anomalies, using them as cover and even as impromptu weapons. Energy beams from Void Herald vessels were swallowed by sudden wormholes, only to reappear elsewhere in the system. "Sir, we're drawing their attention," the tactical officer reported. "Enemy forces are disengaging from their defensive positions to engage us." Harper allowed himself a small smile. "Good. That's exactly what we want. Keep them busy and confused. The longer we hold their attention, the better chance our forces in Alpha Centauri have." As the battle raged on, Harper received a transmission from Admiral Chen in Alpha Centauri. Her face appeared on the screen, etched with fatigue but determined. "Commander, your diversion is working. We've managed to thin out their numbers here, but that Void Citadel is still giving us hell. Quartus and his team are preparing for their assault now." Harper nodded grimly. "We'll keep them busy here as long as we can, Admiral. Good luck." The ship shuddered as a Void Herald energy beam grazed their shields. Harper gripped the command console, shouting orders as the Prometheus dove through another micro-wormhole, emerging behind the enemy line. In the midst of the chaos, Harper's mind raced with possibilities. The micro-wormholes, the Void Citadel, the Nexus, all pieces of a cosmic puzzle they were desperately trying to solve. As the Prometheus unleashed another barrage against the Void Herald forces, Harper knew that every second they bought here could mean the difference between victory and annihilation in Alpha Centauri. The battle in Epsilon Indi raged on, a deadly dance of ships and energy beams against the backdrop of swirling micro-wormholes. Harper and his crew pushed themselves to the limit, drawing more and more Void Herald forces away from Alpha Centauri. As they fought, the fate of humanity hung in the balance, with battles on multiple fronts shaping the course of the war against the cosmic threat of the Void Overseer. As the Prometheus continued its assault on the Void Herald forces in Epsilon Indi, Harper received an urgent transmission from Admiral Chen. Her face appeared on the screen, etched with a mix of purpose and concern. "Commander, your diversion is working better than we could have hoped. We're initiating our final push against the Void Citadel in Alpha Centauri. Stand by for potential reinforcement orders." Harper nodded, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Understood, Admiral. We'll keep them busy here as long as we can." No sooner had the transmission ended than a massive energy spike lit up the sensors. The tactical officer's voice rang out across the bridge. "Sir, the Void Citadel in Alpha Centauri is charging some kind of superweapon. Energy readings are off the charts." Harper's mind raced. They needed to buy more time for Chen's forces. "All ships, intensify your attack patterns. Use the micro-wormholes to your advantage. We need to keep as many Void Heralds here as possible." The space around the Prometheus erupted into a chaotic dance of energy beams and swirling wormholes. Earth's ships darted in and out of the spatial anomalies, striking at the confused Void Herald forces with precision and ferocity. Meanwhile, in Alpha Centauri, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching as the massive Void Citadel loomed before them. The construct's surface rippled with dark energy, a clear sign of the devastating weapon it was preparing to unleash. "All ships, prepare for the final assault," Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Etherii vessels, take point. Your shielding will be crucial in getting us close enough to strike." As the fleet moved into position, a shimmering portal opened nearby. Captain Diego Ramirez and his special ops team emerged, their ship bearing the marks of a harrowing journey through hidden spatial corridors. "Admiral," Ramirez's voice crackled over the comm, "we've located the Nexus. My team is in position and ready to strike on your command." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The pieces were falling into place. "Excellent work, Captain. Stand by for the signal." Suddenly, a brilliant beam of energy lanced across space, striking the Void Citadel. The construct's energy field fluctuated visibly, its charging sequence interrupted. "Direct hit from the Mars superweapon," Chen's tactical officer reported. "The Citadel's defenses are weakening." Chen seized the moment. "All ships, concentrate fire on the weakened sections. Quartus, lead your guardians in targeting the weak points you identified." The void lit up with a barrage of weapons fire. Earth ships unleashed their Starforge-based weaponry, while the hybrid guardians' ancient technology struck with unerring accuracy. The Void Citadel shuddered under the assault, its once impenetrable defenses beginning to crumble. Aboard the Prometheus, Harper watched the battle unfold through long-range sensors. His crew worked tirelessly, using every trick and tactic at their disposal to keep the Void Heralds occupied. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a priority transmission from Captain Ramirez." Harper's brow furrowed. "Put it through." Ramirez's face appeared on screen, his expression tense but focused. "Commander, we've reached the heart of the Nexus. We're laying charges now, but we need more time." Before Harper could respond, alarms blared across the Prometheus. The tactical display lit up with new contacts as a fresh wave of Void Herald reinforcements poured into the system. Harper's teeth gritted with dedication. "Understood, Captain. We'll give you all the time we can. Prometheus out." He turned to his crew. "All hands, prepare for heavy combat. We hold the line here, whatever it takes." In Alpha Centauri, the battle reached its crescendo. The Void Citadel, reeling from the combined assault, suddenly unleashed a powerful energy pulse. Ships across the human fleet went dark, disabled by the unexpected attack. "We've lost power to main systems," Chen's executive officer reported, panic edging into his voice. Chen gripped her command console, watching helplessly as the Citadel began to repair itself, drawing energy from nearby void entities. "Admiral," Dr. Reeves's voice came through the emergency comm system. "The wormhole link is destabilizing. We might not get another shot with the superweapon." Chen's mind raced through their options, each one bleaker than the last. "Doctor, what are our options?" There was a pause before Reeves responded, her voice tight with tension. "I can override the safety protocols, channel everything we have into one final shot. But the risks—" "Do it," Chen ordered, cutting her off. "We won't get another chance." Across the vast distances of space, multiple fronts of the war converged. In Epsilon Indi, the Prometheus and its fleet fought with desperate courage against overwhelming odds. At the Nexus, Ramirez and his team raced to plant the final charges that could sever the Void Overseer's control. And in Alpha Centauri, as the Void Citadel loomed ever larger, Dr. Reeves initiated the overload sequence on Mars. The superweapon prototype hummed with barely suppressed power, ready to unleash its final, devastating strike. The fate of humanity hung in the balance as these disparate threads of the conflict drew together, each action building towards a climactic resolution that would reshape the galaxy forever.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.